Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show where, after the world ends, we see through
the wreckage.
Boing!
Oh my god, he did it. He did it again. He did it again. Professor, he did it. He just completely. How the fuck?
I fucked it. I've done it 2 weeks in a row now.
God
all
damn.
we ask for Christmas, Jimmy, is just let me do my spiel here. That's all we ask.
I was gonna let you once I said the wreckage, but for some reason I got ahead of myself. But that's all right.
We need the counter. Like, it's been this many weeks since Jimmy botched the intro.
Gotta reset.
Counter back to 0.
Yeah, it's back to 0.
Not yet. It's on 2 right now, so technically we're gonna stay that way. But did the world end today? Because I see a whole explosion after today, and literally when I say we have to sift through wreckage, we really do, because the world ended according to Tony Khan, right, fellas? Vet?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't have time to be watching this shit. This is where this is that time of the month where Professor gets to shine. Like pay-per-view.
Very much does shine.
I'll say this, guys. I'll say this, guys. The world did end because something monumental happened last night with World's End. It ended at a proper time.
Yeah, true.
It ended at 12 midnight. We're taking baby steps. I know you can look at me. Wait, Vet. Again, you got to give, you got to crawl before you can walk, and then you got to walk before you can fly. To end a fucking pay-per-view, an AEW pay-per-view, no, mind you, at 12 midnight, I was like relieved. I was like, wow. I had energy. I wasn't dragging. I know, Jimmy, and you were surprised in Australia time that it ended that early for you. That maybe you got a little bit extra half an hour. I was shocked. Something positive came out of World's End. The world did end. That Tony Khan said, you know what? We're not going to end a pay-per-view on my time, 12:30 or 12:45. I was waiting for that. I looked at this card. I said, you know what? I counted 3 matches that was going to go like 60 minutes or maybe 59 minutes, 59 seconds. But Tony Khan, I don't know if he listened to us, but he just said, you know what? I'm going to give you a Christmas gift, 12 midnight. Maybe the next pay-per-view will end at 1 a.m., but at least I'm going to take a win here. You got to take the battle wins.
Hey, my first question was just, well, what time did it start? Because that's if you start at 2 p.m., that's not really a win.
Well, it started at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh,
with the pre-show and all that stuff, but the pay-per-view started at 8, so technically it was a 4-hour pay-per-view. I can't.
And the pacing was actually quite good for an AEW show, which is a miracle.
Oh yeah, it was.
I couldn't believe it. Maybe I dare say, well, we'll get to that, but possibly could it be the show of the year for AEW in our eyes?
Well, let's not go there, Jimmy. Let's not go there. But
could it be? No, not for the matches. I swear, just for the fact that it was 4 hours and the pacing of the show didn't actually leave me sort of flabbergasted. I could actually watch it for once and not just sit there in a trance like in Stranger Things. If anyone watched the latest season of Stranger Things, which is quite good, just quietly. Anyway, fellas, but before we do that, we do need to sift through some news. And to be fair, Vet, me and the professor did do the Smack Attack yesterday, and we did talk about all sorts of news. But there really isn't much news going around the block, to be honest. But I'll double check anyway, and we'll see, because there's nothing really of such. Well, here we go. I know Vet will be excited about this one. But apparently Saraya could be making her WWE return at the Royal Rumble. Now, don't quote me because it's obviously just speculation. But Vet, would you be happy to see Saraya or Paige, whatever you want to call her, back in the WWE ring?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah,
I don't really have a strong feeling one way or the other.
Yeah, neither do I, to be honest. Prof?
Well, for all of the places for Saraya to pick, Saudi Arabia, come on, man, it's a waste. Especially for that body and that look, to be covered up by the goddamn Saudi Arabia government. Jesus Christ.
I was going to say she might be covered up in something else, though, actually. Because, the billionaires in Saudi Arabia, they do a particular thing. I don't know if you've heard, but I don't know if I should suggest it, but if you know what I'm going, where I'm going with it, she could be there for that.
All I'm just saying again, pick your poison. But let's be on Raw. Let's be on SmackDown before Raw Rumble, because then she's gonna be covered up. Again, Xavier Woods is happy that she'll be covered up at Raw Rumble, but again, neither here nor there. But at least give me Raw. See, Saraya works for Raw. I like it Raw. Just like shameless plug for Jimmy. I like it Raw for Saraya to make an appearance there.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I like it Raw too, just quietly. But anyway, let's go into some other news. Well, this is no surprise probably to the vet, but David Finlay reportedly to explore free agency once New Japan Pro Wrestling contract expires. Vet is a good riddance for him in New Japan. Do they really need him at this point? I've never been a big fan of his, but I will say he's a lot better now than he was 5 years ago, say.
Do they need him? Does anybody else? That's the question.
Yeah.
The answer is no, of course. Nobody needs David Finlay. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it short. There's no reason to elaborate. If you haven't seen David Finlay, or you're not familiar with his body of work in New Japan, consider yourself lucky. And if you have, then you already know what I'm talking about, so you don't need me to explain it for you.
That's why I said you'll love this
the funny thing, the funny thing is that the WWE actually has Finlay's even more disappointing son under contract already in NXT. So, like, you would think, okay, if they would take this kid, they'd definitely take the other one. But I just don't see. I'm not saying I don't see it happening. I'm saying I don't see a place for him, eventually. So just
Vet, let me
you could just save time by not signing him.
Vet, can I ask you this question, since you're like a more aficionado with the New Japan stuff?
Yeah.
What happens, in your humble opinion? Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy. You're a New Japan aficionado too. But what happens, in your opinion, with the War Dogs? Because he was the de facto leader, if I'm not mistaken, of the Bullet Club War Dogs. What happened? I mean, the Bullet Club has almost. I mean, we've reached Paul Roma levels of the Bullet Club being, where it is right now in comparison to the AJ Styles and Finn Balor, maybe even Kenny Omega Elite days. So what happens to them?
When you say what happened, are you looking for like a recap, or do you mean how did this fail? Like,
how did it fail? Okay. And how did it succeed?
Look at him. That's the answer. The answer is look at him. It's like, this is my thing for like Julia, right? But this is the opposite meaning. Like, okay, this is what doesn't work. The War Dogs, I think, were almost all exclusively junior heavyweights. First of all, you had guys like Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney, who, I think they still get kicked off of most amusement park rides if they tried to ride them. So, like, that's not going to intimidate anybody. And it's just, I just never bought into it. I mean, first of all, when I'm tuning in to watch New Japan, it certainly wasn't to see just a bunch of like cheese sandwich white guys. That's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the Japanese wrestlers wrestling. And because I don't get that every day, so I don't want to tune into New Japan to see more of what I'm sick of here, Exactly. And like you said, the Bullet Club already got so watered down by that point. It was never going to work. And that's one of the reasons why I think they're struggling right now, because people can blame, things like, oh yeah, the pandemic and stuff was very bad. And, all that stuff may be true. There may be elements of all of that, but the one thing that they could control, which was, sort of their roster and their booking, just didn't cut it. At the end of the day, people are expected to buy tickets. And when you've got, all these, they're not a draw. They just weren't a draw. No one, they're like, as a matter of fact, I'm sure there's people that, had to tolerate the Bullet Club and all of the stuff that they were doing just to see the guys they did pay to see, so.
So we go. Yeah. So Finley could go from War Dogs to no quarter catch crew in a blink of an eye. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, no quarter catch crew even looks a little spicy compared to some of these guys. To be honest.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, yeah, they're just, you put it simply, actually, Prof. There's what names are there left in Bullet Club? But anyway, excuse me. Next, we got some AEW news, and it actually relates to Buddy Matthews. As we all know, he's been out with some sort of ankle injury since this past February's Grand Slam Australia event. And he provided an update. And get this, fellas, he says, it's been a long process. I'm still having nerve issues with a lot of numbness. But he says he accepted that it's going to take time, and he really thought he would have returned to the ring by now, but he can only control what he can. Vet, you know what, man? This seems a lot more serious than I thought. Obviously, I don't want to say, I mean, could it end his career possibly having these sort of nerve damage? I mean, if he still can't really wrestle after pretty much a year, and it still seems far off till he does come back, I mean, what's the go with Buddy Matthews?
Is this still the injury that he got from hopping off the turnbuckle?
That's right.
I don't know. What do you want me to say? He's, you know.
Well, is he in danger of his career possibly, you know, coming to an end?
That doesn't bother me. You know.
No, the question we need to ask. No. The question we need to ask is AEW liable for that
the ring
show ring that they brought over to Australia? 100%. That cost.
That's a good question.
Buddy Matthews his career.
Possibly. Again, I mean, that's a good question, actually. And I thought of that as I was talking to Vet.
Vet's a professional. He's been in rings that probably were crappy in OVW days and like not made to standards and not made to code. But again, AEW is not that. AEW is a top tier promotion, and they're supposed to have the best equipment and the best, you know, materials for their ring. So it's supposed to, there's an obligation that AEW should have for its wrestlers. He shouldn't be injured because of that. And that's again, right. I'm just saying maybe he has a lawsuit. I don't know if he can win it. Maybe he can set out of court, but I'm just saying provide a proper ring for your wrestlers.
That's
now in total fairness, that can happen no matter what.
No, I hear
regardless of the ring.
Right. I hear you. I'm just saying, could he do that? Maybe. I don't know.
T.N. Cooper is saying, where's David Otunga when you need him?
Somebody know where he is. He's on his podcast because everybody's got to have one.
He's at Starbucks with his getting another cup of coffee, waiting to talk about something.
Is it getting way too saturated when it comes to wrestlers podcasts at this point, Vet? Do you think?
It's already been.
Yeah. I think now, though, it's totally out of control. Anyway, in other news, Tony Khan announces clean sellout for tickets at AEW Worlds End. Prof,
as opposed to a dirty sellout.
That's his words. Not
check
mine,
the turnstile numbers.
Is it a clean? What is a clean sellout?
I don't know what a clean sellout is, but it's funny you say that, Jimmy, because I keep tabs on AEW sicko Twitters, and there's a guy.
I love doing that. Me too.
And there's a guy who's a big AEW cheerleader. I think it's Air something, but I forget his name. But
I know who you're talking about.
Kept tabs on every Chicago event or pay-per-view event. So by the time we got to this, as you said, Jimmy, a clean sellout, this was the lowest sellout, Vet. So let's say maybe 2 years ago was maybe 10,500, right? This one was probably cracking around 9,000. Again, it's nothing to sneeze at because I think that's a good range. That's in my humble opinion. You can never, it'd be better for business-wise that you keep going up and up and up. But the reality, there's inflation, there's reality, there's finances, it's Christmas time. So let's be fair here, Jimmy. So it is what it is. I'll say this, the WWE drones can make fun. Oh, it's going lower every time you come back to Chicago. But to me, if you're still in that range of 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, I think that's a win-win. You're actually meeting your base. That's just my opinion on that.
No, I agree with that because I mean, to hear anybody else out there tell it, AEW would be lucky to fit 250 people in a high school. The way people talk about it.
Yeah.
So and that definitely beats the ass out of whatever TNA's doing, even though people want to talk about that could be the number 2 promotion. They're a long way away from that.
Don't worry, Vet. In a couple of weeks, when you keep doing those impact attacks, the AMC buzz is just going to generate so much, momentum for them. They will be number 2. It's like 2 and 2A right now. We just don't know. It's a 6-7 thing. We don't know.
I'm waiting for that. The 55 to 75 demographic to start tuning into the Impact Attack on Monday nights. Once they realize that there's a sort of a Talking Dead-ish type deal to go with their new favorite show.
Well, Vet, G-Ball's got a question for you. He says, Vet, do you know Kenny Williams, the engineer who used to sign my checks?
Yeah.
Don't know what that means.
Don't put over rib comments, Jimmy. Come on.
Liz is in the house saying, hey, guys. What's up, Liz? Thank you for joining us. And Merry Christmas to everybody once again, of course. Let's see. Is there any other news now? Oh, yes. Hyen and Maya World signed to contracts with AEW. They've signed them. Vet, are you happy for this new female tag team now that they've signed officially with AEW?
No. But I'm happy for them. I mean, it's they're everybody should know these 2 ladies as the substitutes for good old Tegan Knox and her girlfriend that walked out that time, and this was their last second replacement. So, they got a job now. And to hear Tegan Knox tell it, she's not looking for a job. She's getting ready to walk away from the business. So maybe she, a long-term contract wasn't the goal. But they've shown up and done what they've been asked, and so they're being rewarded for that. So I can't hate on it.
I mean, no, absolutely not. Prof.
You know what? If you open a Webster's dictionary and you find the word paying your dues, you'll see a picture of Mayan and Hyen World. They did it. They substituted, like Vet said. Tegan Knox said, I don't want to do it. And they became all elite. Perseverance pays off.
Yeah.
I know Vet is really thinking hard not to laugh about that. It's not a joke. It's perseverance, dedication to the craft. They did it. We should applaud them. They did the job. And sometimes you get rewarded later. But as long as you're patient, positivity pays off.
Well, I mean, that's in a direct contrast to the beginning of AEW when guys were making multi-million-dollar contracts and didn't deserve, not 1 cent of it based on paying dues. It was all about knowing people, which Jungle Boy's still cashing in on that.
It's not Blade and the Butcher's fault that they got those contracts day 1. I'm sorry.
Blade and the Butcher.
Give me a break.
Well, according to J12, he says that Tegan Knox's latest tweet is her looking for a 2026 booking and posting her OnlyFans page. There you go.
Lingerie Championship Wrestling is looking for her.
Can you imagine being a wrestling promoter? You're like, God, where am I going to find somebody to book? Let me just scroll through Twitter randomly. Well, I didn't know Tegan Knox is available. Oh, and she's showing some ass. All right, well.
Bonus, there you go.
Yeah, that's a win-win.
Exactly. Speaking of funny, though, because I know Vetti's going to laugh at this one. You might too, actually, Prof, but we'll see. But Arn Anderson on his goals for his son's Brock, for Brock Anderson's wrestling career. See?
I like to join in on the laugh. I don't even know what he said.
Well, it gets better. It's going to be even funnier because he says, my son, and I'll quote, this is exactly what Arn Anderson said, my son Brock Anderson, which I'm sure you don't know, he hasn't made the mainstream exactly. Like I think he's going to. He's breaking into the business. I'll make as many shows around the Carolinas, Virginias, the Georgias that he's wrestling in. I'll go with him so that I can be there to coach him up a little bit. And by the way, he's talking to Denise Salcedo while he's saying this. Yeah, I know. And whatever I have left within the wrestling business, all I want to do is make sure I get my son started on the right foot so that he's respected and he respects the business. And he's going to make it. That's my goal. That's my desire now. It's not about me anymore. It's 42 years in the business is way enough for him. And he also wants his son to continue the Anderson's legacy in professional wrestling. Look, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, where do I even begin with this? With all due respect to the great Arn Anderson,
right?
He's talking like Brock is just about to start wrestling, like for the first time, pretty soon, or like he just started a couple months ago. This motherfucker's been wrestling for like how many years now? 3, 4, something?
More, maybe, yeah, maybe 5 even, possibly.
Yeah. So right off the bat, it just sounds funny the way he's talking. He's talking about it like he wants a do-over. Like we didn't already see his son, you know. But yeah, like there's just, again, getting off on the right foot. Well, he's definitely not getting off on the left foot because he's got 2 of them and he still can't get off on them. Like that's how bad this kid is. And it's like, you definitely did not get anything that your dad had as far as like, you know, aptitude for actually being in the ring.
I agree.
The last time I saw him,
wait, Brock is 28 years old.
Yeah, I thought he was 48.
That look like he's 50.
I know.
That body, he looked like he's 50 years old. I thought he was older than that.
Well, he had to go and try to, you know, have a normal career and then fall back on this like everybody else who fails out of what they really wanted to do, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, whatever that was, I guess football didn't pan out.
Yeah, it was football, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's always football. It's funny because I'm laughing again because of something else that I was thinking about recently related to football. It's like, I was just saying, because you know how Phillip Rivers just got signed off the couch after not having thrown a pass for 4 years, right? And I was just saying how like that's an indictment of like the entire college football system, that you couldn't produce one person in 4 years that you would rather have than Phillip Rivers off the couch, right? So everybody sucks that bad in college, and this kid couldn't stand out amongst that group. Probably not even Division III. So I just thought that's funny. Anyways, I'm sorry to young Brock. The last time I saw him, he's tagging with CW Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay? And they have matching boots, which is, you know, you don't see that often. You see matching gear sometimes. You don't often see like 2 tag teams have the same boots. It ain't gonna help. But
nice.
You know, maybe just maybe if he sticks it out for another 2, 5, 10 more years, his dad will still be going places saying, I'm sure you don't know him.
Oh shit. Prof, I'm sorry, but the CW Anderson part absolutely popped me. And I know you're an ECW guy, but he ain't wrong. I'm sorry. When it comes to CW and Brock, he's hit the nail on the head.
There's a difference, Jimmy, between blind faith and reality. I know the reality, so I'm not going to retort anything that Vet said there. So with that being said, Brock Anderson, he did get a leg up, a leg up, because he wasn't he in that Cody Rhodes Nightmare Collective in AEW with himself, you know, on Rampage and Dark. It was him. Was it Lee Johnson and stuff like that? Because they were teaming up. So he did get a leg up and shit like that, you know. Something that my high-end world did not do. You know, I said perseverance for there, but Brock Anderson got nepotism hired right there. So let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck here. So. Yeah. And anything, the quote, Jimmy, you popped me because, again, I'm thinking about history because that's what I do. I'm the professor. He got a leg up on the number 2 promotion in the world with AEW. And now he's teamed up with CW Anderson. And, you know, and I've seen the matches. I think they had a tag team title match opportunity against the Skyscrapers, you know, Baron Corbin and Donovan Dijak maybe a couple of months ago. So it is what it is. So, you know, for Brock Anderson, I think probably, in my humble opinion, Arn Anderson is his worst enemy, because he will never get that kind of leg up and maybe even respect if Arn has got to keep like hovering over him, hovering over his career, hovering over his choices, hovering over his decision making. Because if you do that, see David Flair, see Ava, Rock's daughter, or whatever. There are people that in the wrestling business you don't like with the second generations because you feel like they're getting either too much too soon, and they'll get hatred so quickly.
Well said. I mean, the thing that really bothered me, though, to be honest, is his tights. He shouldn't wear tights like that, man. Not like his old man, because it looks like he's wearing shit catchers. I'm just saying. If you get where I'm going.
Again, Brock is, if he was born in like 1965, he'd be perfect in 1985. But he was born in 1995. What, he's 20-something? So he's in the wrong generation for his body type.
A few generations.
He'd be perfect for the NWAs. He'd be perfect for Memphis territory wrestling.
Not WWF.
Not WWF, but he'd be perfect for the territories. He was born too late.
He'd be basically yesterday's Brad Armstrong in some ways. He was a great wrestler, though. Actually, that's too good of a compliment. I don't even want to say that because Brad Armstrong was a freaking great wrestler, to be honest, right? So that's probably wrong, but you get where I'm coming from.
No, and Jimmy and Ved, did you know I actually watched an MLW thing on YouTube not too long ago. I remember that even Brock got a title shot, a heavyweight title shot. And I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck did he beat? Isn't that? I don't know who the MLW champion is, but I'm sure Tian Kupana probably will say it in the chat who he is.
He already did.
He did? Okay.
He said it was Mads Kruger, I think.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Max Kruger. But again, isn't that a clear-cut example of nepotism and Arn Anderson actually guiding your career to get that shot? He did not get a shot because he earned it. He got a shot because of his last name and who his daddy is. That draws heat, in my opinion, from behind the scenes.
Okay. Before we move on, I just saw the most ridiculous article right now, and I just want to pop. I just want to see you guys pop because I'm not even going to read it. But the article says AEW, right? These AEW news. Tony Khan on him admitting he got too collaborative with AEW Creative recently. Collaborative, really?
How dare you collaborate with your creative team?
But he's saying he got too collaborative, like he brought in too many people. Thank God people were trying to help you. Anyway, like I said, I'm not even going to click on that, but I just saw it and I'm like, okay, Tony.
So in essence, he's blaming people like Bryan Danielson trying to give collaborative input. He's blaming people like Jon Moxley giving collaborative input. And while when he was there, he's blaming people like Chris Jericho giving collaborative input for a TV show. I'm giving you just names of veterans that have known the system and know how to kind of like function for a TV episodic wrestling episode. But Tony Khan says, you know what? Let me not get too collaborative. Let me write this on my own. Well, 2025, I guess, does that equate to Booker of the Year? Well, for SI, yeah, it equates for him to be Booker of the Year. But for Tony Khan, what did he do? Think about it this way. I don't want to get too collaborative, but yet I got the Owen. I got two tournaments. I got the Owen. I got the Continental Classic. I got the Dynamite Battle Royal. I got a man climbing a mountain who should have been the heavyweight champion. I got a Death Rider storyline. I really should have collaborated with somebody to kind of kill it, but we'll talk about that later. But I can just give you examples, Ved. Too collaborative, but he did this on his own. You got to give him props. Let's give him props.
Well, I never stopped giving him props. I come on here every week just to praise Tony Khan.
Now, Vin, this is the last.
No, it's actually probably none of those people that you said though. It's probably it's like I'm sure all those guys give valuable feedback and he takes it into account. It's probably those guys like the Evil Unos or like the QT Marshalls are like coming up to him and like, it would be cool if I was on Dynamite, and then he's like, yo, I'll get back to you. Yeah. That's probably a lot of what's going on when he's saying there's too much collaboration. It's, Scorpio Sky pitching another.
No collaboration. He did the AJ Boom and Rizzler thing all by himself. So no collaboration right there. It's all about them. I wish the Riz would collaborate with Tony Khan more.
And it's brought in, it's brought in that outside audience that he's been looking for, that everybody's been saying he's trying to attract a mainstream audience. And obviously they've done it. You can tell by all the numbers. What else, Jimmy? Anything?
Yes, I've got one particularly for you because myself and the professor actually spoke about this yesterday. So before we start sifting, I actually want to know what your opinion is about this because you are the opinion haver and the best in the world, mind you.
That's true.
But did you hear about Jim Ross and the Devon Dudley racism allegations?
Yeah.
Who's
there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say about it because they're both just saying, like, one person saying this happened, the other person saying no, it didn't. So what,
That's what I mean. Who's lying? I just want to know who do you think, if anyone's lying, who would it be?
If you put it that way, JR's lying.
Yeah.
Or not lying, but like I could see him not. I could see that the problem is Devon had never said what was said.
Right. He just said it was racist remarks,
right?
Whatever that is.
And it's up to people to interpret what they hear and how they feel about it. And it's not right or wrong if you feel that way, but just because you feel that way doesn't always mean exactly what, that you're exactly right about it. As a white person, I don't have to deal with stuff like that, So, yeah. but because I'm from where I'm from and I am who I am, I know that it exists because I've seen it myself. And one of the things about being a white person, that's great, is that other white people will expose how racist they are to you because they think you're an ally just because you're white. So they'll come up and talk about other people and they'll just expect you to be like, am I right? Huh? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, buddy. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, noted racist. So that's a benefit, right? I get to walk amongst, these people and I get to know the truth, right? While they're trying not to say it. So Jim Ross seemed very confused and hurt by it when in that clip that he said, but I could see JR saying something that maybe Devon didn't get what he was trying to say or something.
Misinterpreted it.
Maybe. I don't know
hey,
if it.
Boy, I just said, hey, boy, to Devon. I didn't mean it that way.
It could have been that, right? It could have been that even. It's something like that.
Right. But, Devon said something to the effect, I thought I heard him say something to the effect of I don't like you because some reason. He was saying that. He didn't quote him, but that's what he was kind of describing the thing as, but it's still vague. So I can't really, it would be nice to know, to hear from Devon at least what he remembers was said. But yeah, Jimmy's definitely more racist than JR.
Oh, come on. Can't you see? Look, we both got the same name there, J12. Come on.
Yeah. Jimmy Ross.
Jimmy Ross.
So
that sounds foul, dude.
So
yeah, but I mean, look, this is a thing.
He's got tapes on you, Jimmy. He's got tapes on you. You must have said something. He's got tapes on you. He's gonna.
I'm the resident racist here in HMG. Allegedly.
He's gonna out you.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I would hope that as men they could maybe get together and discuss it. But I couldn't tell you what was possibly what could have been said. I don't see a history of racism with Jim Ross in the sense of he seems to have a great deal of reverence and respect for people like Ernie Ladd, Ron Simmons, or whatever. But then we also know,
Booker T actually stood up for him.
Yeah,
I've never heard a leak of racism.
So, but then there's I mean just to be fair, there's people that have that attitude of oh well, those are the good ones.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't, there's degrees of racism that a lot of people have, or bigotry, I should say, is a more accurate word. because racism is sort of tied to like institutionalization. You know, it's like you can only be so racist without power, but you could be a bigot. So like, I don't know, there's like a baseline level of it for a lot of people. So I don't know, maybe it's something like that. But even Devon just like seemed to be like a model employee wrestler. I don't recall any stories of Devon ever. He was the one that was like keeping Bubba in check. Like these are just the things I've heard over the years. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Devon until Devon came out and said somebody said something bad about him in front of everybody. So kind of hit everybody, kind of blindsided everybody. So who knows?
Well, like you said, Prof, yesterday.
Just like I said.
I was going to bring up a new show.
Well, go ahead, Jimmy. You can say it.
No, I was going to say, like you said yesterday, he does have a new podcast. He needs to get a few, eyeballs and ears, I guess, to it. He could be just saying that for, just to hype up his show. I doubt it, but
that's terrible. That's a terrible reason to do. I don't even think.
I know, but you never know with these guys sometimes, man. You just, you know what I mean? You never know.
How do you separate yourself with a podcast when Vet just said earlier, everybody has a podcast, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you need a very touchy subject. And this is a subject that you will actually compare Jim Ross's podcast to Devon's podcast. And then you'll take what, the he said thing like that. It's the sign of the times where Jim Ross was in the UWF days, the South days, the territory days, himself and Bill Watts. We've heard stories about Bill Watts. So again, it is what it is. But Bill Watts put over Junkyard Dog. So, he saw the money. Did he see color? Did he see race? I don't know Bill Watts personally, so I just know those stories and how people felt. Like I said yesterday, we remember like stories of Teddy Long. He don't like Ole Anderson for nothing, and he heard Ric Flair say certain things derogatory and racial towards him.
Ric Flair is a known friggin'
right.
Racist. So I don't understand the culture.
Interpretation, jokingly I said interpretation, but we don't know how in the context of conversations between Devon and Jim Ross were, but if Devon felt a certain type of way that it affected him racially, he should have spoke to the JR man to man, just get that communication going and try to bury the hatchet privately. You could have done this privately, could have done this text thing, could have done this Zoom, but then what do you have to? That's again the motivation for clickbaiting is, you know what? I'll just do it on my podcast, and then Jim Ross has to respond. So it is what it is.
As if Devon hasn't seen enough stuff in the wrestling business that he wouldn't have to make up a lie about, especially in ECW.
Yeah.
FYI, J12, I hate all kangaroos. I ain't getting close to any of them. Close enough. And Labrat, you're right. Exactly. I hate all kangaroos. Screw them all.
Kangaroo lives matter, Jimmy. Kangaroo lives matter.
Not with me.
Kangaroo lives.
Kangaroo power. Yeah, well, Zane Vicious thinks that Jim Ross is full of shit. No, that's your opinion. I don't know who's in the wrong, but if I'm leaning, I'll probably agree with you a little bit there, Zane. But anyway, that was it for the news, boys. So I guess it's time to put the gloves on and start sifting through that wreckage. And there's a bit of sifting.
Well, I'll try to do this part fast so that we have enough time to cover the end of the world.
Please, go for it.
So we're starting out with Dynamite on 34th Street. How clever.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
Well, there's a movie.
Is on 34th Street.
I know the 34th Street part, I get that. But yeah. Dynamite? God damn it.
It's Wednesday, so you know.
I know, and I know what that means, but still, did they have to really do that? I mean, come on.
Jimmy hates the theme. He hates anything. All they do is give it a little name, and Jimmy hates it. He just can't. Yeah.
It's too much, man.
Well, whatever. Here's something that's basically the same no matter what season it is. The Continental Classic, okay? We can agree that the Continental Classic is what it's called. They don't give it a gimmick name like Christmas Continental Classic or anything. It's just Continental Classic. We have a Blue League match. It's Orange Cassidy versus Konosuke Takeshita. Obviously, Takeshita's going to beat him. Raging Fire. after fighting for his life, by the way, like Orange Cassidy almost killed this man. He made it. That's how he sold this match. Like he was lucky to escape with a win on Orange Cassidy. And this clinches his spot in the semifinals. So, there you go. There's that. Any comments on this match?
Yeah, not really. It's probably best you do keep going.
Yeah, I think I probably should. Even though the next part is Gabe Kidd from, the Bullet Club War Dogs. The only non-cruiserweight.
This is very intriguing because, again, it kind of bleeds over into World's End. But I just want to say this. Is he an alternate Death Rider? Because he hasn't been fully indoctrinated into the Death Rider. But is he some kind of alternate Death Rider? Because he has nothing. He's
probably waiting. He's probably waiting to see his contract status with New Japan. Just like Finlay, he's going to explore free agent options. So he doesn't want, they don't want to commit too far, into a Death Rider thing while he's still got a contract. But
David Finlay, I give you a warning. Look at Gabe Kidd on AEW TV because that's all you are. You'll be lost in the shuffle.
They do seem to like him though, because they do request him a lot. It seems, at least for him.
Well, this is one of them cinematic promos, like the Death Riders tend to do, where he basically says he wants to fight Darby Allin at World's End. So we'll see.
And that he does.
Yeah. Oh, spoiler alert! Chicago Street Fight. We're gonna, it's proposed that we get a Chicago Street Fight rematch for FTR and the Bang Club. So we'll see about that. Next Blue League match is Roderick Strong versus Mascara Dorada. The only reason this match is happening is because they have to. Shooting Star Press. Dorada wins. Renee is with Statlander and Jamie Hayter. Nothing here, like absolutely just a bunch of nothing. Nobody says anything of any substance. MJF beats a kid named Dustin Waller, and then Hang Person and Swerve come out for the crowd, and Joe is on the screen, and then our two supposed baby faces go down, and they like choke MJF with a chain while Swerve is talking shit to him, and but in fairness, it was his dumb idea to try to jump both of them from behind while they were watching Samoa Joe talk on the screen. So, for the guy that's supposed to be like smarter than everybody and whatever, just attacking two guys from behind doesn't seem like, that definitely seems like some creative he would have had to acquiesce to rather than something he would have pitched. Maybe there should have been less creative control.
Right. I'm sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean that.
Go ahead.
Get to this. I just want to ask you on this one because, again, the optics from this segment to make...
They're called the ops. Ops.
No, I got that part. I'm just saying optics for the fandom of us. But the optics of MJF getting like pummeled down and then the chain around his neck, in comparison to what MJF did, he embarrassed 3 guys in the main event picture, right, guys? It was supposed to be a triple threat before MJF, cashed in his Money in the Bank stuff like that. But comparing to what he did in England, because MJF, in my opinion, ethered 3 main event players with his words.
On that,
now
yes.
You're trying to humble him. Now you're trying to humble him down and kind of like, it's all about equality, guys. I don't want to use those liberal terms. It's all about equality, but he had to humble himself down to be embarrassed, like you said, Vet, eloquently here within this segment. I just don't get the optics of what Tony Khan, I guess, without collaboration, what he was trying to do from week to week. MJF ethered them in England. We cannot deny that. And now he's trying to humble him in this segment to try to like say, well, anything can happen in this World's End match. Do you get what I'm saying, Vet?
All I can tell you is that listening to Swerve drone on and on and on, well, I would have assumed that MJF would have asphyxiated from the chain long ago and died right there in the ring listening to Swerve go on and on. If not, he didn't die from boredom because Swerve is no Jay-Z. I'll tell you that. But yeah, if we're using the ether analogy. Oof. But Yeah, but the only thing I can think of is knowing what we know now. This was just the red herring of like, you're going to do this to me. Well, we see him at a lower point because he's going to get to a higher point. I can only assume that was that. Now, was that good? No, not necessarily. It doesn't really. And the way they got into it didn't make sense. He, like I said, he jumped him. That's so stupid. It'd be one thing if they, chased him down and cornered him or whatever. And then it's like, you can see that. But the way they did it is just completely lazy, nonsensical. It's a good example of what I say about none of these promoters and any of these companies actually know who they have or what their characters are, what they would do, what they wouldn't do. People aren't in the position to stand up for their business, even though MJF should be, and I feel like he is, but he somehow went along with this. I just don't, I don't get any of it. But
the thing that I only liked about this segment really was the fans chanting "Happy Hanukkah." That's it. That's what popped me. So happy Hanukkah to all our Jewish listeners out there.
You can always count on the AEW fans to entertain themselves if the show's not doing a good enough job.
Definitely not Swerve's house.
Yeah, which brings me to my next point, which is Renee with the Babes of Wrath. And since all I wrote was that they did a promo, I guess there wasn't anything entertaining to report to you guys. So moving on to the Dynamite Diamond Ring match. Not the Battle Royal. We did that already to find out the two people that would face, and if you guys heard Dave and Brian going at it, on their show about how this didn't make any sense and how they changed the rules. Alvarez is upset that they change the rules every year, and Dave's still trying to defend it somehow for some reason.
He's starting to see the light. I'm talking about Alvarez suddenly, and now Meltzer's like, no, but hang on a minute. But whatever. Screw you, Meltzer.
Yeah, Alvarez is seeing the light because he's not getting a check.
Yeah, exactly.
So, 100%. Of course. But anyways, this is the match. Ricochet versus Bandito. Even with the GOA on the outside and whatever, Bandito just wins the match.
He's ridiculous, man.
Ricochet goes for the spirit gun, gets crucifixed. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, why would they do this? And it doesn't even make sense to me.
So knowing what we know now, there's a lot less potential for this being interesting. Just knowing it's going to be a Bandito versus MJF, who in the world cares about that? I mean, the world's ended, so it doesn't matter who cares. Exactly, but right. I'm just saying, the potential for, just entertaining buffoonery between MJF and Ricochet is completely off the table now. And we get this other guy that, he makes a finger gun at people.
And you know what this is going to be like? Imagine the promo. It's going to be some sort of racial Spanish, like borderline racial Spanish.
We didn't get enough of MJF and Mexico in 2025. That wasn't enough. We need more of that. We need more. We need to revisit that.
I'm gonna pop when MJF calls ice on Bandito.
Yeah, he's gonna do something like that.
Get him out of the building. But with that being said, I agree with Vet. I don't know if the vet's saying this, but the wrong guy won the ring. I think Ricochet should have won the ring. Yeah, it would have been more. It would have been more entertaining, but
it would have been funny as hell too, man.
Could have been funny as hell, but again, collaboration wise, Tony Khan is trying to reward Bandito based solely off his matches in ROH, based solely off his ROH title matches with Hechicero. Because this is the only thing I can kind of validate, based solely off his matches as Brodito as the tag team champions. He's trying to elevate Bandito into a next stratosphere based solely on matches and forgets there needs to be some entertaining value. There needs to be some charismatic value, which Ricochet actually offers. I don't care if it's heel versus heel, but Ricochet, especially with the GOA, you actually make it more intriguing because we already know at the end it's going to be Ricochet. It would have been Ricochet against MJF. How MJF could outsmart the GOA, outsmart Ricochet in that essence, but we don't get that. Now we're just gonna get, like Jimmy says, maybe some racially motivated ICE immigration comments against Bandito and his family.
It's going to be like how I talk to J12 all the time, apparently.
That's right. Well, have you considered calling ICE on him, Jimmy? Will that work? Will they accept outside the country hot tips?
I'm an American citizen. Yeah. I'm an American citizen that's visiting Australia, and I'll put the accent on and everything. I'll be like, gotta go to Philadelphia and look for this J12 cat.
No. Just call from a burner phone and you're all right. You can just say I'm an American and you can call from Australia.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, we could have seen like we could have seen two guys, two crafty heels trying to outsmart each other, but in reality, it probably would have ended up being based on what we've seen just on this night. They were trying to outdumb each other because again, Swerve and Hangman, the two most dangerous men in professional wrestling history, and MJF thinks it's a good idea to come and give one of them a forearm from behind, right? And then Ricochet has got two thugs out there, and he can't win a match against one Bandito. So, like, none of these guys are effective at what they do.
But what Josh said, actually, and I highly doubt it because it's Tony Khan, Josh. Don't get our hopes up because it won't happen.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. They're not even going to say they won't even say the word ice if they're talking about Hangman Page's drink. Mm-hmm. Okay? They don't touch that kind of sensitive political shit. I mean, MJF might say stuff, but the way that's presented when MJF says something like that is that he's going off the reservation on his own, even though it's clearly not. But whatever. And as far as hologram goes, yeah, that guy broke his body and he has to, recover.
Who cares? I've totally forgot about him, and I'm glad until now, Labrat. God damn it.
Yeah, we still got Clone sometimes in the Don Callis family when
sometimes he's coming in 2026.
When they remember
on a Collision coming soon.
Hologram, exactly.
All right, Lexi is in some underground tunnel with Darby Allin. And then Gabe Kidd jumps him and kicks him down those same stairs that he got thrown down, whenever the last time they were.
To be honest, man, they look like those. I don't want to say hay or paper. Those walls are weird. I don't even know what the hell that joint was. Or bricks.
It's the Hammerstein. Jimmy, it's the Hammerstein. It's not that eclectic. If you get what I'm saying, it's not that. It's not classy. It's a shithole in the bottom of the basement. It's a shithole actually on the top too.
It's a great place though for pro wrestling, though. I mean.
It's a nice place. I've been there a couple of times for ECW stuff and ROH stuff, but again, it's a shithole. It is.
Yeah. Oh, you said it. I've never been, but it looks good on television
though. Speaking of looking good on television, we get Marina Shafir versus Mina Shirakawa. Tony promised to stay in the back, and Marina wins with the dreaded titty suck, and then. She wins the match, but then she puts it back on. She forces Mina to suck those titties some more. And Toni Storm is going to come in and she's going to make the save by getting dropped with one kick by Marina. So a deadly kick takes down the Timeless One in her save attempt. Any thoughts?
A bash.
It was a nerve kick. It was a nerve kick that got Tony down. So.
Vulcan nerve kick.
All I can say is in my notes, she needs breast implants, Marina Shafir. If you're gonna do the mother's milk, she needs some breastises. That's all I just say. It'll make it even more. The visual be even more better, even for Mina Shirakawa to take that all in, drink it all in.
Drink it in, man. I would just use that. I would just use her lack of chest to say how effective the move is. It's like, these used to be bigger, but I've just been beating so many people.
You're taking my energy away. I'm losing
That's
more
right,
breath. You're losing all my milk.
That's right.
No. Imagine that, Prince Puma.
No comment. So there's this guy in the crowd named Arian Moayed or something. He's some kind of a filmmaker, producer. But I did find it funny that he was wearing a Wonder Man hat because Wonder Man is a Marvel property. So they're just saying, fuck you, WB, you can't do shit anyway.
Wow.
You know?
The idiots.
That's just hilarious. Last week Lexi was with the Elite after they won the $1 million, and the Bucks come out with ice packs on saying they're not going to be cleared for the end of the year. Like the doctor's seen the future. Like, you don't have to make the towns or whatever. We're just not going to clear you. Don't worry. Don't bother.
But Kenny's hinting at something, right?
You're pre not cleared. This would be like a great gimmick injury report segment for TNA to use. But anyway, yeah. So Kenny says, "All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go do something," and then what this means, I have no idea. But he made it sound like it was going to be interesting. I'm sure.
He finally remembers that Andrade attacked him, and now Andrade is available. And if it's not New Year's Smash, it's going to be Maximum Carnage. That Kenny Omega will at least get that revenge off of Andrade.
Well, La Sombra is going to make a return to New Japan in January. Apparently,
yeah, very exciting.
Could Kenny and Andrade be going at it maybe at Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, maybe.
Build it.
All right.
Build it up.
John Moxley doing a promo. Gold League match. Bastard versus Jungle. The Actor's Kid wins with a roll up.
That's so stupid, man.
Everybody in the Gold League has 6 points here after this. And then Santa Luchasaurus brings milk and cookies and presents. And we're all just having a nice Christmas celebration to end the show, except I was just wondering, guys, though, like, as I saw, Santa Luchasaurus with the toys and the milk and the cookies, Pac did just lose to a roll-up, right? So he should be fine, and he's just going to disappear and let all this celebration go on. He's not mad. And the Death Riders they're nowhere to be found either. They're not going to commit any violent crimes on this they have no
champs now.
These are the subtle hints of what the Death Riders are gonna become, and we'll talk about that later. But I'll say this: you forgot one little tidbit here. Jack Perry, his cannibalism, switched up a little bit. Remember, 1 week he bit the penis, 1 week he bit the foot. This week he bit the nipples. So he's biting everywhere in the body. So just let's not forget that. And if you want to be comedic, Santa Lucha, you just talk about Santa Luchasaurus. He gave Speedball some toys. Why couldn't he give Pac something? He didn't have to give him milk and cookies, but he could have gave him some toys, a toy train set. I wouldn't say a toy gun because a bastard would use the gun on you. So, but give him a toy. Keep the Christmas spirit going.
I think so. I mean, to be fair, Pac does have bigger titties than Marina, so I can understand. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. These guys they're just like they've really settled down, lately. Not really into beating people up as much, unless they remember. Christmas Collision, very creative title.
Very creative.
Gold League match. Kyle Fletcher versus Little Perry. Yeah. So we're still doing that foot thing. Like, I guess throughout this whole tournament, Jack has been like selling his foot, in the Seth Rollins way, in which you just do whatever you want, and then as long as you grab your shin afterwards to show that you're in pain, it's considered selling. But Kyle Fletcher actually took off the boot this time. So Jack is wrestling with one shoe on, and then at the literal last minute of the match, he finally hits a brainbuster and beats Perry. So yeah, good.
Strong win.
Yeah. Well, it took everything he had. Yeah.
Wait. You did not see what Tony Khan was trying to do with Jack Perry here? He made Jack Perry the Tomohiro Ishii of the Continental Classic. Strong performance, not strong. Well, some strong wins, but strong performances. So this way you can gain that respect with the sickos. You can gain that respect, and in the future, can get future title shots. That's what Tony was trying to do.
Yeah. What am I gonna say? I'm trying not to dignify as much of this with any responses as I can, because I know we got plenty to talk about still. So, all right, Renee's with Roderick Strong, and then Kyle O'Reilly comes in, gives him a pep talk. Blue League match again, just because we have to. Takeshita has to beat Dorada real quick. It's not as quick as it could have been. Blue League match. Claudio versus Roderick Strong. Okay, now remember, Roderick Strong has gotten a pep talk, so that means he's going to win with a knee to the face now. He was going to lose, but now he wins. And then here comes Yuta and Garcia for the heat back while his wife watches. She's kind of the leader here. And then Mark Briscoe and Tony Storm come in, make the save, and then they shake hands. So the mega powers we never considered or knew we needed have arrived.
We'll get it.
Yeah.
We're going to get it. Don't worry. You'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not worried. Stokely accepts the street fight proposal from the Bang Club. And he also says they're not going to be liable for what happens if it's a street fight.
Yeah.
So,
because they want payback, Vet. That's why.
Yeah. Let's see. Stat and hater package. No one cares. Gold League match. Kevin Knight versus Pac. In fairness to these guys, they had an exciting draw. I mean, it went to a draw, but by the end of it, they really had people, like, oh, who's going to win? Who's going to win? The people were biting on the near falls.
This is a prime example of why you should not give out awards so soon, because you missed out on a match of the year with Kevin Knight and Pac with this match. I'm just saying.
You get this. Is he supposed to make Kevin Knight now? Like, is that supposed to get him over now?
I mean, you saw what happened on Saturday.
Right. Just saying. But anyway, continue, Vic.
Yeah, just like I said, for what they did in a vacuum, the people liked it. Gabe Kidd comes through the crowd with a microphone, and then he starts to get in the ring to, call out Darby, but then the lights come out, and then here comes Darby, and Darby's got the bat, and Darby, accepts the challenge, let's say.
I was waiting for what type of match, what type of gimmick, and he just said, I just want a match. That was it.
He just wants a match. He's trying to, maybe turning over a new leaf. He's going to show off those technical skills on this guy that threw him down the stairs.
Yes. So,
Hyen and Maya World versus the Babes of Wrath. Hey, they got about 6 minutes. So that's double the time that, and then afterwards, Harley and Willow tell, apparently Willow tells a story about Christmas where they were like walking around town and they saw Santa Claus, and they asked Santa, hey, what do you want for Christmas, Santa? And he said, peace and goodwill towards men, except I guess when Athena and Money get the ever-loving shit beat out of them at World's End. I guess that's the only piece that Santa doesn't want is, them. That's
what a build up, right? That's a great build up for this match coming up.
I was hyped.
I couldn't, it didn't work on me, but I definitely, So next we get the Blue League match: Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley. Again, these guys just rivals. They should, if AEW had a rivals series on A&E, these two would definitely. Because who could forget all those times when Orange Cassidy got extra serious and wore black pants when he was fighting the Death Riders? But
that means
in any case,
around.
Yeah, he tried to work John Moxley's leg, but he went for a single leg crab, and John Moxley used his superior wrestling ability to small package him and got the win here. And finally, the Gold League match.
Bet before you go to the next Gold League match. You just have to remember this for John Moxley purposes, how many nights he was the last lone Death Rider who had to do something because the others got eliminated. So the leader had to show himself for the Death Riders. He had to lead the charge to get into the semifinals of the World's End.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he barely made it. Again, another guy that just survives by the skin of their teeth against Orange Cassidy, but
with a bum ankle too.
It's called resilience, fellas. Resilience. All right.
Gotcha.
It's resilience. It's similar to how resilient Jack Perry was with his bum ankle. Like there's a lot of bum ankles in this tournament. So Gold League match to close out the Gold League. Okada versus Speedball. Again, this was a bunch of Speedball doing a bunch of moves that no one would want to take. Okada being kind enough to take a lot of them. And, but he does counter that weird pin thing that Speedball did. I forget who he beat with it. Kyle Fletcher, maybe? He beat Kyle Fletcher with this weird pin. Okada countered it with the SummerSlam 92. And so that means that Okada's in the semifinals against Takeshita, who after this match comes out for the belt hold and the stare down. So there you go. So these guys are meeting in a semifinal, not even in a final,
dude.
A semifinal.
Since we're onto the pay-per-view practically now, and it is the first match or official match. How do they fuck this up, Vet? How the fuck do you fuck this up? Me and Prof were talking about this yesterday. They totally fucked it up, dude.
We talked about it. It was built in. This was the only story that was built into the Continental Classic, and you had the two proponents for a finals match that we all wanted and were all intrigued with, and Tony Khan just wanted to swerve us. It is what it is, Jimmy. You know this.
And you fucking said it too, Prof. That's another thing. You said, don't be surprised if they did swerve and go there. We're like, no way. But it freaking happened. I can't believe it. And that leads us into the world ending, because after that Christmas collision, the world ended for me. But apparently not. It wasn't at the end just yet, because it is today or yesterday, should I say, last night, where the world did officially end. Now I just got to get my card up. But I mean,
let's not forget here some big things, at least for the whole weekend, because remember, Vet, we've been begging for AEW to brand itself. This pay-per-view was sponsored by White Castle, the Bacon Brawl. Remember that's big. That's big news right now for AEW. I'm not even trying to be sarcastic here. Good kudos for AEW getting a branding deal with White Castle. I was hungry a little bit, so I got myself a Bacon Brawl. I wasn't, I went to the shitter before the pay-per-view started, so it worked for me. And of course, around the aisle, they were promoting a beer that said IAB. So again, kudos for them to promote and brand themselves. So we got to get that out of the way. So with that being said, there was a pre-show, Vec. So I got you on this one. There was a pre-show. And funny thing was, this was not on TNT or TBS, which I expected. They just went straight to their movies and stuff. I was like, wait a minute. They're not doing the tailgate brawl. They're not doing anything here. So
I guess it wasn't a success, Prof.
I guess not. But, with that being said,
the Costco family didn't show up.
They didn't show up. Nothing to, it all started with Renee, Double J, and RJ City to welcome us to Now Arena in Schaumburg, Illinois, and shit like that. So with that being said, go with the first match. Jimmy, do the Sisters of Sin, please, for me.
Here we go. All right, I'm going to get it back. I should have been ready, but
the Sisters of Sin.
With no Tekla, Vet. No Tekla was
Tekla
was accompanying her. That was in my notes against High-End and Maya World, because again, we need to establish a credible AEW's women's tag team division. So this was the showcase of showcases for a women's tag team division. And with that being said, Sky Blue with the win against, I think, was High-End World. But again,
High-End World.
It might have been a loss for High-End and Maya World. But later on in a tweet, we find out officially High-End and Maya World are all elite. So they won with losing. So like I said, perseverance pays off. So Vet, again, what I got from this match is the Sisters of Sin is trying to be, or Dark Julia, Dark Sky, we know that they're trying to establish, like I said, a women's tag team division, and they seem like the most credible contenders for that. Bet you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah, that division was not established by an entire tournament bracket. No, we just needed to make sure that we got the replacements for the chicks that walked out on you. That's how we do it.
That's what it is. Exactly that. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on was the Eddie Kingston storyline that no one asked for, because he's been having weeks of and this is ROH also, vet, between himself and the grizzled young veterans. So with that being said, for World's End pre-show, it was Eddie Kingston one-on-one with Zach Gibson, but it was like a 2-on-1 and stuff like that. But again, it's Schaumburg, it's Chicago. Everybody's chanting Eddie, 9,000 screaming fans for him. And of course, Eddie Kingston wins with the DDT. And of course, it was a 2-on-1 attack, but we got a return, vet. And that return was Ortiz. Ortiz did exactly what Hook did for Eddie Kingston weeks ago. But now it's Ortiz's turn to help out Eddie Kingston in his moment of need.
Only one pertinent question.
What's that?
Afro or not?
No afro.
Oh, I don't care anymore. I lost interest.
He might have had some dreadlocks. I don't know. I forget. Jimmy, can we confirm, was it dreads? Did he tighten it up a little bit?
No, I think he did. Not that I didn't notice that, to be honest. But I wasn't really paying attention to that. And also,
expert analyst.
Come on, man. I don't really pay attention to the pre-shows. I'll say it straight out. But I will say this. Does this mean, are we going to get a impromptu LAX now between these two? Are they going to be the tag team? And we're going to forget anything happened with Kingston and, like you said, Hook and whatnot? Are we just going to pretend that didn't happen? Are we neuralizing us? Is Tony Khan neuralizing all of us right now to just forget that ever happened?
Well, I was neuralized weeks ago, so I didn't even know that Hook did it. So
exactly.
Well,
good man.
I mean, I hate to give a serious answer to a question that's talking about AEW, but like, I mean, actually, no, this would make more sense because Hook is with the ops, so Eddie Kingston is going to need more people on his side rather than just wade into an army by himself.
This is their way of doing it. They just bring back someone. Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's probably the way they will go, but it is AEW. That doesn't mean it makes sense for them to do that. It just means, who knows? But I think you're right. They should. But then again, I just don't trust this company at all.
All right. Moving on. We got matches that were never announced, vet. We got, representing the Don Callis family, Mark Davis and Rocky Romero, going up in a tag team match against Mascara Dorada and Bandito. My first notes, Jimmy, was, why is Dorada and Bandito tag teaming when Bandito has a tag team partner in Brody King and Brodito? That was one of my notes there.
That's a good question.
That was the prefaces of my notes here. So it is what it is. I don't care for Mark Davis. Why didn't you have Roppongi Vice against at least, the Luchadors to have a nice, quality, entertaining match? So it is what it is on that. But Dorada and Bandito got the quick win on that one. So, I guess it was a filler match that, again, was not advertised, was not announced, not in your notes, Vet. So just
not wanted. I think it would have been great if Bandito, or not Bandito, if Brody was there. So then you could have him and Mark Davis just, go at each other, and maybe they could take each other out, like maybe permanently.
Mm-hmm. And I see J12. Yes, Alex Abrahams was managing both of them for some strange reason that night. He does manage Dorada. I don't know about Bandito, but he was
one night only.
Yeah, one night. He did the Jim Ross there. He just, I guess, had to manage the Mexicans on that night. But moving along to the main event of the pre-show, Vet. Now, this one had a little bit of story here. We got a backstage promo between Don Callis and The Demand. Don Callis and Ricochet had a plan against their opponents, Jet Speed and Jurassic Express. Don Callis and Ricochet agreed that we must take out the big dinosaur, which they did, in the opening segments. The Demand took out Santa Luchasaurus, but he wasn't in costume right there, so he went to the back and all that stuff. So again, it's Josh Alexander and
no presents, no milk, no cookies, nothing.
No nothing, no toys, no nothing. So it turned into a 4-on-2 match for a little bit between Josh Alexander and the Demand against Jet Speed, because Jurassic Express, because Jack Perry, like I said, the new Tomohiro Ishii of AEW was taken out by the Demand also on the stage. So he was selling it. But again, on my notes here, Ved, because you alluded to the Continental Classic, his ankle was 100%. Did not favor it, did not sell it or anything. You know, after a couple of days, Ved, I don't know, he got some good medicine, but he was not kicking his foot and trying to stretch it out. But it is what it is on that.
Yeah, I was told by commentary, because I did get to see a little bit of some of the Okada matches from tonight or last night. But you know, I was assured by the commentary team that the Continental Classic was quickly becoming the most grueling and prestigious tournament in all of professional wrestling.
Brian Danielson said that repeatedly during the night.
Yeah, he kept saying that, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding? But also, you know, like, obviously, you know, Jack Perry's fine, a couple days removed, so, you know, guess it's not that grueling. Guess we'll have to shoot for prestigious.
Yeah.
Grueling.
Jimmy, you remember that little dangerous spot that Ricochet did with what was it, Speedball off the top rope? He threw him, and Speedball forgot how to fall onto the floor. He literally busted his head. Thank God it wasn't concrete, Vet. He landed on his head, and you know he didn't brace himself. It was kind of like a weird fall. So that was in my notes here. But again,
basically done at Darby Allin. You know, Darby Allin doesn't even brace himself half the time.
Well, we expect that out of Darby Allin. That's what he does. He's a stuntman on that. But I don't expect Speedball doing that same thing. But that Santa Luchasaurus did bandage himself up. He was doing a shoulder thing. So maybe he was coming in with a bum shoulder. So they wrote him out. So again, good storytelling here. But he did come back for the save. You could say that. And the winners were Jet Speed and Jurassic Express. Funny enough, that they did not bleed into the start of the pay-per-view, which they've been doing for the last couple of ones. So I found that a little bit surprising. So they kind of broke it. They propped us up and got us ready for World's End.
It would be weird if that happened every time. It's weird enough that it happened a couple of times in a row. You know,
I was expecting
that'd be like every single sporting like event, basketball, football, where they all go into overtime, extra innings. Like, yeah, it just doesn't work like that. Sometimes shit just ends. You got to keep it real.
Yeah. So with that being said, Jimmy, you're ready for this, right?
I'm ready.
We're going into World End, Vets. And we kick it off strong because it's the Continental Classic semifinals. What should have been the finals turned out to be the opening match semifinal between Kazuchika Okada, the defending Continental champion, against Konosuke Takeshita. Now, Vet, not being funny here, I'm going to try to give you the analogy I saw, because I'll say this. For the first two semifinal matches, the crowd was hot for these two matches. This was the best kind of atmosphere, the best environment and stuff like that. And then after these matches, then the crowd felt flat. They dropped. They really dropped. You know, they got to the moments of moves and shit like that, but neither here nor there. But I just wanted to point that out. But my analogy here for Okada against Takeshita, maybe you might agree with this or not, but I was kind of thinking like in the Wrestle Kingdom days, like maybe Wrestle Kingdom 9 or 10, when Okada's trying to beat the old guard of Tanahashi, and Tanahashi's that wily veteran, and you know, because he's so young and he's going with that kind of emotion, like I'm younger, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm quicker, I can get over on the old guard. But the old guard still has some, you know, I taught you everything you knew, but I didn't teach you everything I know, and stuff like that. So it kind of worked out like that. And again, we got to remember the build up towards this with the tag team fuck ups and stuff like that. The animosity towards each other, just like you said, Vet, you know, they were holding the title, their respective titles towards each other before World's End started. So it was a good match that went on for like almost like 22 minutes, Vet. And then at the end, Okada knew something that Takeshita didn't, but Don Callis knew too. I think they were trying to allude that Don Callis told Okada where Kyle Fletcher left the screwdriver in the turnbuckle areas. So Okada took that information and used the screwdriver. Now, during the live feed, Jimmy, I don't know if you agree with this, but the way that the referee kind of like tried to look stupid, it did not mesh with the professor. You know, I take the referee thing very seriously, Vet. It looked like he fucked up. He was looking at the screwdriver and then had to turn his
fuck up.
He turned his head to make it look like he didn't see the screwdriver, but he saw the screwdriver.
He's trying not to look dumb, but looks completely dumb though.
Right.
I'll let you finish and then I'll break that down.
He used the screwdriver on Takeshita. Again, there was a lot of false finishes. So, you know, they both kicked out of, you know, Takeshita kicked out of the Rainmaker and Okada kicked out of Takeshita's finishing maneuver minutes preceding that, but the screwdriver was used and Okada defeats Takeshita. And, you know, the image is that Takeshita is pissed. Why did you use the screwdriver on me? Takeshita is pissed looking at Don Callis raising Okada's hand. So now we're seeing the disintegration and we're seeing a combustible element happening within the Don Callis family. So go ahead, Bet, with what I said.
Yeah, so I did get a chance to see this. I only had time to really see this.
I knew you would have watched this match for sure.
Yeah, and it just so happened to be the first match, you know, like you guys said. So what you can really see from this match is the distinction between, even within the match, if you know what you're looking for, you can see the distinction between why Okada's considered one of the greats and why Takeshita's just another Japanese guy. Because in this match, everything that, you know, a lot of the Okada matches, he always has like a purpose for what he's doing. There's some psychology behind whatever he's doing. Like everything he does is centered around the neck, you know, because his finisher is a clothesline, right? So that's why everything he does, whether it's a DDT, the little weird neck breaker thing he does, you know, dropping an elbow off the top, you know, all this stuff is like tombstone. It's all neck centric, neck focus. Takeshita is just giving you bumps. Like he did the tope and Okada caught all of it. He fell down and took a back bump on the concrete with Takeshi's entire body weight on his chest.
And you see his chin too?
I'm sure that hurt like a motherfucker.
He was beat up. Okada had bruises on his right side of his face, had a big, looked like a claw mark under his chin, like all down his neck. Like, I mean, literally bang, like that. I'm like, man, this dude got absolutely beat up from Takeshita, like legit.
Right. And
he's pissed me off.
Yeah, he's throwing him around, like, you know, he kind of has to, but that's where you get like a lot of these guys are just get your shit, like Kyle Fletcher or whatever. They're just gonna beat you up and get their shit in. Like that's all they care about doing. You know, and even you listen to him talk about it, Chris Van Vliet, he's like proud of it. Like, yeah, I'm crazy. I'm gonna do something even crazier next time. Like, you just what is wrong with this? This is a generation of thought process of like we're just gonna do it. And Takeshi's not even as bad as Kyle Fletcher, but still, all of his shit just revolves around like, well, these are the moves I do, and you're gonna take them, and they're gonna hurt. You know, so. But there's no psychology behind any of them. None. He's just doing them.
Absolutely none. And this is what gets me, guys. I've noticed Okada lately has been getting pretty beat up in some of his matches. And if I know, I'm not that I know him personally. I don't know him, right? But by the way he is, it seems like he would be someone that would absolutely get sick and tired of guys not being able to work properly. You know what I mean? Because he's not doing that to them, but they're doing it to him. Do you know what I'm saying? And that would be
Okada has adapted. I mean, just like Vet said, especially for the American audience, his character is perfect for it. I mean, you could see like the devilish grin that he does.
No, he's adapting
the shortcuts that he did, especially with this match. So I have no problem with Okada adapting to maybe the American style, what the fans are expecting character-wise, even though it's very simplistic character. But again, he's a dick, he's a prick, he's got that evil smile, so it works for Okada. And Takeshi is just that bulldog that just does one thing. He's one-dimensional. It's all about the moves, just like Vet says.
Right. And that'll never change. But he's one of those. He's a doll wrestler from DDT. So he, what could you know about psychology from,
and actually,
just from wrestling the blow up doll?
You'd be happy to know that in New Japan they did a vote about who should be the champion. Like out of 4 different wrestlers, they just did a vote. And it's funny enough, the fans voted Takeshita last.
Well, of course,
so
he's not one of he's not one of them. But anyways, not like us. So so anyways, but now the finish, right? So what was supposed to happen? Clearly, what was supposed to happen, and I don't know why, but Okada gets the screwdriver out of the turnbuckle, and then he goes like he's hiding it, and then he goes to give the Rainmaker to Takeshita, ostensibly with the screwdriver, even though I don't know how that would work, but holding the screwdriver, he goes for the Rainmaker, but Takeshita ducks it. So Okada goes forward where Paul Turner's in the corner. Now, what was supposed to happen, I'm sure, if this was ever discussed, was he probably should have kind of bumped into Paul Turner and kind of knocked him into the corner so that he had to be like, oh, and like, I'm disoriented. I got a quick, but not like so bad that he takes like not like one of them, what's that guy's name? Like Jack Doan or one of those bumps like that, where he just gets completely pancaked. Hey, but just
Earl Hebner took those bumps great.
Yeah, he did too. That's true.
Just a little something just to keep him out of the way for a second while you hurry up, turn around, and hit him in the face with the thing that you missed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is, okay, well, if he's okay to duck your clothesline, then he should be ready for the next offensive move. So he shouldn't just stand there and take a screwdriver to the face anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. So they definitely messed that up because, like what you said, Okada doesn't touch Paul Turner. So Paul Turner just stands there and looks at him.
Yeah, it's like
the wind. Yeah. And then Okada's like, well, I guess I got to go hit him with a screwdriver now because that was the spot. So Paul Turner just has to go look outside the ring for no reason whatsoever. Like he's looking at Excalibur and he's like, hey, is your mask too tight? Like what could he possibly have to say to anybody out there? The match is going on in the ring. So Okada hits him with the screwdriver and beats him, which shitty finish. It is a shitty finish booking wise. It's a shitty finish execution wise.
Mm-hmm.
But
this match shouldn't have even been happening at this point. Anyway, in my opinion.
I would say this.
If what you wanted was what you were going for at the end, then you had to put it here, but I just don't know why you wanted what you wanted. I don't know what anybody gets out of what we wanted, but we're not going to spoil that just yet.
We're not going to spoil that. All I'll just say, Vet, is for this before I go to the next match is that I wanted this to be the finals because, again, I wanted a little bit of story because we're seeing the story play out a little bit. Just like I said on the Smack Attack, Jimmy, I said, let's expect somebody's getting kicked out of the Don Callis family, and we kind of saw it materialize a little bit. The storytelling is materializing right now as we see it.
Person.
So we'll see. And now we got the definite person that's going to be out of the Don Callis family. But
exactly.
Neither here nor there.
You were onto it. I'll give you that. Kudos to that.
So the next
you got the person wrong.
So the next match is the other semifinal match: Kyle Fletcher against Jon Moxley. And Vet, from my notes here, what kind of got me a little bit, I'm not going to say I was shocked about it, but I guess Tony Khan got his wish. He's like the evil genius that he is. He knew what the Chicago crowd was going to do. And the Chicago crowd gave him a standing ovation. Jon Moxley was the good guy here. So I guess you got to pick somebody. Again, it was the lesser of two evils. So Kyle Fletcher being with the dreaded Don Callis family is the ultimate heel. But for some strange reason, and again, kudos to Excalibur and Bryan Danielson. I'm going to talk about him in a second, Hami Nights. They were acknowledging the crowd, like rooting on for Jon Moxley. Now, mind you, Hami Nights, remember this. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to abbreviate this. Remember last year to this year. Why are you cheering for him right now? But again, I will kind of rant that later. But with that being said, Jon Moxley, Vet, he's got an ankle injury too, that he's been working, he's been working through that ankle injury all through the C2 tournament. And remember the story. The story was that, Kyle O'Reilly tapped him out twice because of his ankle issues and all that stuff. So he's been working with this. So there was a spot outside the ring where Jon Moxley's leg was caught in the ring steps, and of course Kyle Fletcher did that nice super kick on the steel steps to hurt the leg even more. And then of course what TN Couponer tweeted us a couple of hours ago, another big high spot was Jon Moxley doing a Death Rider superplex off the top rope where Kyle Fletcher's neck actually hit the ring. So again, one of those funny things is like AEW, a safe place to work and all that shit. So sarcastically. So Vet, when you see that move, when you see that move, I think you just said it, just like Kyle Fletcher said on Chris Van Vliet, you test your limits of the human body. But again, well, he's what, 26, 27 years old. He can do 26. That. He could test the limits of his body. But
he said they like it on the Chris Van Vliet thing. They all test each other apparently doing this crap.
Jimmy, but again, why are you gonna do that to your neck? You could almost paralyze yourself. What? Just for a cheap pop? That's the thing that gets me here. But with that being said, the crowd was behind Moxley, and then Moxley busted his tooth. I think there was a super kick.
It was the first match that did it.
Yeah, it was this match that I think Kyle Fletcher did a super kick or something outside that he chipped his tooth and he was bleeding out of his mouth. This was a nice bleed spot, Vet. I didn't mind. It wasn't like the glorified gashing. It was not a glorified gash. It was a nice sports-centric bleeding here, which I had no problem with.
It was fun, man.
It was okay for the Continental Classic. And with that being said, Jon Moxley overcame it with the Death Rider paradigm shift, and he goes on to the finals of the Continental Classic.
And there was a lot of new finishes too at the end, just quietly there.
Yeah, of course there were. It's AEW. So I mean, I saw the clip of him landing on his head and stuff, and I seen, like you said, I think it's funny how, again, going back to that interview when he's talking about, they're sitting there, and of course the male Denise Salcedo is just glazing him over these crazy matches that he has with Will Ospreay, and they talk about, like Jimmy's saying, like how they like to be crazy and do stuff that looks like is killing each other, right?
I can't believe you said that.
And I'm like, but you're saying this,
right?
Like, as you're saying this, one half of the guys in that match is recovering from career-threatening neck surgery right now, and you're still talking about, in this interview, like a mark, you're still talking about how you're gonna raise the bar next time.
Idiots.
So, like, will you not be happy until someone does die? And will that be a booking? Like, will you be like,
oh my God,
will that be part of how you lay it out? Like, okay, I'm going to do this, but you have to kill me when you do it. Like, you have to kill me. I have to die here. I've already made my will out. I've already got all my beneficiaries and everything. So if I survive this, I'm going to end up crippled. I don't want that. I'll need you to kill me here in this match so I could be the first person that ever laid out a death in a wrestling match. Like, will that be the only thing left? Because there's no point, like Tennessee Couponer said, Kyle should listen to the Vet. Well, I'm not interested in talking to him because I already know that this guy's an idiot, and I've been knowing it for years. And I said it years ago when nobody knew who he was. I said, this kid's an idiot. He doesn't get it. He's never going to get it. And I said that about both of them, him and Mark Davis. I said, these guys just don't give a fuck. They're just going to go in and get their shit in, and everybody that gets hurt is just too bad. Like I said that when they were Aussie Open and New Japan. So,
really bad as Aussie Open in that sense, dude. Oof.
Yeah. So I mean, what can you say to a guy like that? It's much like the Darby Allin thing, like where it's not a question of like he's doing it because he doesn't know better. He clearly knows better. He's making his decision. He's making his choice. So,
all I'll just say in closing is Tony Khan got what he wanted from the crowd. He got the crowd cheered for Moxley. And the one thing after this match, Bryan Danielson for, I think, SI, I think he was named Announcer of the Year too Don't quote me on that, Vet. But
oh, they were talking about it.
There was a spot. Yeah, they were tooting their horns all night because of the SI awards. But they were after this match, Vet. This was the funniest shit. Moxley overcomes everything. He's raising his hand. He turns his back on Fletcher, and of course, Kyle Fletcher. Oh, let me just say this. Kyle Fletcher was looking for that screwdriver. Remember, Jimmy? He was looking for the screwdriver that Okada took. So he was pissed off. Where's my fucking screwdriver? Because Don Callis was not on commentary. So Don Callis, again, for storyline purposes, Don Callis was not on commentary. So again, Fletcher was pissed off that the screwdriver that he left in the ring was taken away. So he did not know what the fuck happened. So neither here nor there.
He should have watched the match. He would have seen Okada take it out of his trunks and throw it under the ring.
He was watching tape of all the Moxley matches before that, preceding that. So it is what it is. Yeah.
Cram session. I see.
Yes, cram session. He was taking this very seriously. But Moxley raises his hand and Kyle Fletcher chop blocks Kyle Fletcher, which is fine. Again, Moxley is selling that injury and all that stuff. But Jimmy, you remember this. Brian Danielson, the man who got the attempted murderer, John Moxley.
Oh no, this is annoying me, dude.
Try to kill him, Vet. Brian Danielson, I kid you not, said Moxley has done some dastardly things, even to me, but that was the most dastardly thing I ever seen done in my life. I kid you not. He said this. A man who John Moxley put a bag over his head and tried to kill him thought that what Kyle Fletcher did to Moxley was egregious.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking the same thing right then and there. I said, fuck this, but sorry, Vet. Continue.
Well, I would know. I was just, obviously, all of that brain damage that Brian Danielson received at the cause of the Death Riders. Like, they've literally beaten everything they've done to him out of his memory. So he doesn't even remember. Yeah. That's just hilarious. There's trying to get something over, and then there's being stupid. Like you shouldn't impact your credibility in such a negative way.
He doesn't give a shit anymore.
It's already like incredible in the most literal sense of the word. The fact that some of the stuff that you've done and said the past couple of years of your career, but don't try to act like a chop block is the most
right.
thing.
Exactly. And you know what's sad? I actually like his commentating. He's actually pretty good. But when he starts talking shit like that, it takes me right out of it. It's like, come on, dude.
But Jimmy,
you know what I mean? Like, seriously.
Jimmy, do you think, because you saw it too live, do you think that was a pivot because of what the crowd was doing for Moxley, because they were cheering on Moxley? And this is, again, like I said, Vet, we remember attempted murder. Multiple attempted murder spots, threw Darby Allin down this flight of stairs and all that stuff. We'll get to that later, but I'm just saying, just for Brian Danielson to say that, Jimmy, do you think that was a pivot ad-lib spot? I know if this was Mr. Man saying, well, Brian, make sure sell this as this is the worst thing you ever seen in your life, we would understand that. I do not think Tony Khan would have put it into his ear. DB, sell it. I'm just saying, but it is what it is. So
he should have laughed. Like when Kyle chop blocks him, Brian should have been like, that's what you get, dumbass, turning your back.
And what's worse? It just defeats everything that's already been done. You know what I mean? Completely. And what I hate, they've obviously purposely going with the Moxley babyface run, but why? Why do all that shit?
Well, wait, Jimmy. We'll move. Let's save all that. Save it. So with that being said, now, Vet, this is where the crowd goes down because all that energy for the Continental Classic, then the crowd just goes into spots. They pop for spots. So with that being said, we got the Chicago Street Fight for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The best tag team in the last 5 years, FTR, defending their titles against the Bang Bang Gang.
It's not just you saying it.
The SI says it.
Yeah, exactly.
PWI. Well, PWI didn't say it. I think they were like number 11 or something.
It was C that said it.
Now, mind you, in my notes, Jimmy, for this Chicago Street Fight, only one person got the memo of what to wear in the street fight, and that was Austin Gunn, because he prep for a street fight. He was wearing some pants. He got some Timberland boots or something like that, vet. So he was prepared. Everybody else was just in wrestling garb. So it's like, okay, this is a Chicago street fight. Make it feel violent for me. That's all I'm just saying. But again, Dax the Axe, he knows a street fight. And Cash Cashton is doing his thing. So
they also got friggin' compared to Demolition. I don't know if you heard the commentators talking about that.
Oh, I heard that. But some momentous spots here because again, I'm not gonna say this was a 5-star match, vet. I'm gonna give it. It was a good match. I'll give it a 4.25. I'll give it a 4.25. Again,
put the bullshit aside, vet. Right, just forget how you feel about FTR. For what it was all right, but still, I can't stand watching this match. But it was all right. It was fine. I can't be that biased.
But to be fair here, Jimmy, Cash Cashton tried to kill himself too because he did a tope suicida onto the floor, head first into a table. Again, he missed the drop. He was trying to aim for I think it was Juice Robinson. He totally missed him and then caught more table than that. We cannot forget the Stokely spot, Jimmy.
Yeah, the Stokely spot. That was bad, dude. That was really bad.
He missed the whole goddamn table. So it is what it is on that one. Table. So
the whole table and lands on the floor, and then you see Juice look back like, oops, like did I fuck up? Man, that was bad, dude.
And vet, it took not 1, not 2, but 3 multiple stuffed pile drivers to beat the Bang Bang Club for FTR to retain those AEW World Tag Team titles. Anything to add, or you just want me to move on?
It's not the first time I've seen these guys not know how tables work or are used in a wrestling match, or even just general spatial physics and other things like that, where they just go flying right past tables, especially Cash Cashton. The motto was no flips, just fists. But in fairness, just the suicide dive doesn't necessarily come with a flip. It's more like a straight dart. So, they still ain't lying.
It was a fun match, but there was a lot of botches. There was a few botches in this match, though.
It was a fun match, but vet, I'm just honest. Again, the crowd was flat. They popped for spots like the table spots and all that stuff, and the kendo sticks. And Juice Robinson bled here, so whoop-de-doo, a blood spot. So I wasn't too impressed with that one. So with that being said, we move on to the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship match.
I see tag team back to back, right? Good booking, good card order.
Yeah, the Babes of Rap defending their titles. This is their first title defense. I don't think the Mayan and Hyan were a tag team title match, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but they signed and got one.
No, but they promoted this as the first tag team title defense, right? So I'm just trying to. I'm quoting what Excalibur said against Mercedes Moné, Ultimo Moné, and Athena, the forever champion. So I didn't take too much notes on this because I thought it was a foregone conclusion and it was proven right, Jimmy. So.
You were right. I'll give you that. It
was a heartfelt story. And again, the most noteworthy thing is who got the pin. Willow Nightingale pinned Mercedes Moné, vet, because they're going to set up a TBS championship spot for the Dynamite New Year's Smash. So again, this overshadows, I will keep saying this, Mercedes Moné is overshadowing the women's division. This was not a match that was needed. We needed a credible tag team to go against the Babes of Wrath and Mercedes Moné. Again, these are singles champions, vet. I'm sorry to say this. I know you love Ultimo Moné. She's, the best women wrestler of 2025 because SI said so to them too. So again, I got nothing here. There was nothing really. It was just who got the pin. And
it was a shit match. You say that. It wasn't a good match.
And the backstage promo was Mercedes Moné screaming in her locker room that she took the pin, she ate the pin. Athena was pissed at Mercedes eating the pin too. So that was the story kind of manifesting itself. That's all I got out of that.
She drops an F-bomb as well. Screaming like a wild animal in the locker room, saying, "I want to." This is what she said about Nightingale. I want to fuck her up this week. I quote.
Ooh, maybe I should go back and watch that part. Sounds fun.
Definitely.
But most of this just makes me sad. So yeah, let's just move on.
I'll say this: the backstage promo was better than the World Tag Team title match.
It was
so,
absolutely
by
100.
With that being said, Jimmy, I'm gonna call this the worst match of the night, the match that was not needed to be on the pay-per-view card. That's Gabe Kidd versus Darby Allin. This match had no meaning to be on
the hell, man.
This was a straight up wrestling match. Remember that I asked you this. This was a straight up match. There was no gimmicks, no nothing. Right. This was the bloodiest, goriest match of the night for no goddamn reason. So
why do they hate each other so much, by the way? Am I missing something?
I mean,
remember, alternate Death Rider history. Remember,
so that's the reason. That's the only reason.
Yeah, and stairs on Wednesday. Now remember, he wasn't cleared. He wasn't cleared for the rest of the Continental Classic because whatever happened. But he's totally cool getting thrown down the stairs, and he's cleared for that. So
cool.
So I got Jimmy. You got any notes on this? Because I just said,
nah, man. This match. I was watching it at first, and I thought it might have been half decent, but yeah, this match is stunk. Definitely the worst match of the night. To the point where I just walked out for like 5 minutes. I just couldn't get into this, and I love watching Darby like in the ring. I really do, but these two and I felt like Gabe was getting a lot on Darby too for the most part. Yeah, but in the end, the right man won.
Right, the right man won, multiple coffin drops, and then I think Darby Allin countered a sleeper hold after all that blood. It was a sleeper hold counter into a roll up. It felt like a WrestleMania finish with a roll up and shit like that. So, got nothing left to say here. So
no one does anymore with a sleeper. You know when you reverse a sleeper into a pin, but you flip over, sort of thing, as they still got you in the sleeper for the 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm talking about? No one does that anymore.
They do it, but they kick out of it too now, so they don't use it as a preference finisher. It's a great false finish, but
it is a great right. But anyway,
with that being said, Vet, we go on to I'll call this a very entertaining match of the night. This got the crowd a little bit up. This got the crowd a little bit up for all the pomp and circumstances,
and it exceeded my expectations for whatever reason. I couldn't believe it.
The Mixed Nuts Mayhem, the conglomeration, and Tony Storm versus the Death Riders. So
I couldn't believe it.
I'll say this, Vet. Again, this is entertaining because there was multiple spots here that I kind of took notes on. We had the tango spot between Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm, dancing and kicking ass of all the Death Riders. We had a one-on-one spot moment between Marina Shafir and Roderick Strong.
Not once, but twice.
Yeah, twice. Once where Marina Shafir kicked him in the face, and then Roddy Strong wanted to chop her in the breast, but then he chopped her in the back. So a lot of intergender match spots, Vet, that I can tell you that was happening here. They allowed it to go on a little bit more here than I anticipated. And with that being said, Jimmy, anything? I guess did you say the right team won with the conglomeration winning?
No. I went with the Dick Riders to win. Actually, we both went Dick Riders actually, so we both got it wrong. Mm-hmm. But I will say this: I couldn't believe it, but I enjoyed the freaking match. I actually did. I'm like, God damn it, why am I enjoying this when I shouldn't be? But it was actually pretty well done. Don't get me wrong; I don't agree with half the bullshit that was going on in the match, but nevertheless, it was still, for whatever reason, kind of entertaining. Mm-hmm. And heck, you can even make the argument as maybe the match of the night, possibly.
And there was sexism, Vet. Claudio did the giant swing on Tony Storm. Now remember, when a Death Rider's giant swing happens, what happens?
That was a good giant swing, by the way, on Tony.
No, but Jimmy, but remember this: either Wheeler Yuta or Daniel Garcia does like a kick towards the head. Sexism. They didn't allow that. They just allowed Claudio just to do a giant swing with no consequences towards a kick spot. That I'm a little bit
even with Marina there, who's showing off that deadly kick lately.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the notes.
Maybe it's because she goes for a higher kick and the head is swinging so low she couldn't get kicked down there. I don't know. The only question I have
with force, by the way.
The only question I have is how did this advance the thing between
I'm laughing already.
You know, what's her name?
Oh, Marina?
No.
Oh, Mina Shirakawa?
No.
Tony?
It was forget it. Doesn't matter. I was being facetious anyway. It's not worth it.
Well, I did say this, and I said this on the pregame show.
Oh, I remember what it was. Did Roderick Strong finally accept his role in the conglomeration?
No.
Not even with this win. Not even with a solidifying victory.
Nah.
He's still not with it.
To high five him at the end of the match, no shit. He just looks up. He's like, "Nah."
The conglomeration celebrated. Vet. I mean, Willow Nightingale and Harley, the Babes of Wrath, came down to celebrate with the fellow conglomerates. But Roddy kind of took a step back and stuff, like to the side. He raised his hand, but
he's gonna have some stuff to discuss at home. So I'm sure he's already anticipating that. Yeah.
So that was my notes. I just wanted to account the sexism with the giant swing, and Tony should have got her head kicked in, but neither here nor there. But
with that being, but she didn't.
Again, sexism. I want equality, Jimmy. You know this.
It's true.
Whatever you do to men, do to women.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you do to men, you do to women. Equal is equal. Women's lib and all that stuff. So with that being said, the next match is for the AEW Women's World Championship. We got Chris Statlander against Jamie Hayter. Jimmy, I like this match a little bit, but again, one of my notes, Vet, is the neck spot. You remember I keep saying, what's wrong with this generation? Chris Statlander did a tiger driver off, I think, either the second or top rope, and then Jamie Hayter head, neck, and all that stuff. I don't know. Didn't Jamie Hayter had neck problems, or was it a shoulder problem before a couple of, like she was out for a while. So
I think it was neck, if I remember correctly, or shoulder. It was one of them anyway. But
why would you placate to that with the spot? Again, it's a cheap pop spot and all that stuff. So Jimmy, I guess the right woman won, but the wrong outcome happened. It was
not just wrong outcome. But did you notice a spitting spot too, where Hayter spat into Statlander's mouth or whatever the hell happened there? Again, why was there a lot of heat and hate between these two women? Like, what was going on there? Like, I didn't get it. I didn't know these two were like, it was a blood feud suddenly.
Remember, Jimmy, I said you could have continued this with frustration. Right. You could have made Jamie Hayter a heel, but then she took the pin. She took the Saturday Night Fever spot vet at the end, and then she rolled out, and then so what? We move on. What's next?
Yeah, and she was wrestling like a heel
what's next
in this match.
Right. What's next for Statlander, vet? What's next for the Jamie Hayter and all that stuff? So again, you could have had something here tangible, vet. That's what I was saying on our pregame, prediction show. I thought Jamie Hayter could have lost. Maybe they could have done that stupid shake hand spot, and then she slaps her, and then kind of like keep that heat going and stuff like that. But they just kept it basic. And again, maybe they're moving on to bigger and better things for Statlander. Maybe Megan Bain, maybe Tekla and stuff like that. So I just felt like she was being fed Jamie Hayter here. That's the way I looked at it with this match.
It's a weird person to feed because they're supposed to both be fan favorites. So I don't really understand.
Hayter was a total feud in this match, the way she wrestled. Totally.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But before that, it's just been there's no reason for them to. In fact, it's sort of this whole short nothing happening angle was born out of them being a team and winning a match, and then afterwards, Hayter said a promo was like, "Well, actually, I kind of would like a shot at that way." Like the laziest sort of setup ever. So it never had any heat going into it to begin with.
They're spitting on each other, bro.
Yeah, I mean, well, once you've already got the match in the ring, it's too late to try to build heat.
Right, exactly.
And even if you have one of them turn in the match, then all you're going to get is another rematch. And because no one really knows how to work, every match is the same. It doesn't matter if they're baby faces, heels, whatever. Like, you're just going to get the same match of people doing moves to each other, no matter what the situation is. That's part of the problem with professional wrestling as an in-ring product now, is because everything is so homogenous. You could basically when you're in the back, let's say if you wrote everybody's match down on a piece of paper, like, from lockup, the DDP, give them the DDP, write your match from lockup to finish, on a piece of paper with little smiley faces and stuff, right? Do that for everybody's match and then shuffle them around.
Oh, God.
Nobody watching would be able to tell. Like, they'd be like, oh, this doesn't seem like an Orange Cassidy match, because it's not, unless you put the hands in the pockets, it's not. Even people like him is the only one that does anything different. But like, for the most part, I couldn't tell you what I couldn't tell you the personality of a of a Chris Statlander match, other than she's the shits and she's probably going to hurt somebody or herself. But that's everybody. That's a Kyle Fletcher match too. So if you had a Kyle Fletcher match and a Chris Statlander match on paper, I couldn't tell you the difference.
It's funny you say that, and Jimmy could attest to this because during this match, Jimmy, remember both Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter playing to the crowd, doing the same exact thing. They both posed. Right. They were both doing this, vet. Like no originality on trying to get the pop. They were both posing like, "Oh, I'm the best here." Again, maybe that's nitpicking. That's
not nitpicking. That's just dumb.
I'm just saying, have something of your own. Even just say yeah, but don't do the pose. If Chris Statlander just did a pose to get over, don't do a pose, Jamie. That's all I'm just saying. You know, maybe I'm just I'm nitpicking.
Who posed better? Yeah,
I think Jamie posed better.
Yeah, I'll go with Jamie too. Actually,
maybe because she has more of the body. I think Chris Statlander upper body just looked a little bit skinny to me. That's just she has the booty, but it's skinny up top. So, with that being said, we go on to the double main event, and we have the finals of the Continental Classic. And Vet, remember this: if Kazuchika Okada successfully wins this tournament, not only is he a back-to-back winner, but he gets to still be the unified champion. So it's. Don't laugh, Jimmy. This is what the stakes. The stakes cannot get any higher for Kazuchika Okada.
Oh my God! Right.
So,
Don Callis explained all this weeks ago.
Yes. So
my bad.
Again, the crowd was chanting for Moxley. They wanted Moxley to win. Bryan Danielson was kerfuffled. Vet. He cannot understand it. He has no basis of understanding why the fans. He wants to say that they're fickle. I want him to say fickle. Why didn't they say fickle? That was a great spot to say fickle. Why you fickle fans are cheering for Moxley? You know,
but he didn't.
Gets me. He didn't. He had an opportunity to, but he didn't.
That's Jimmy, more of a Daniel Bryan catchphrase. Not so much a Bryan Danielson catchphrase.
Just trademark fickle. It's his. No matter what. No matter what incarnation. But Jimmy, I will say this. This was a very slow, methodical match.
At first,
but Okada was working on the ankle again, basic psychology.
As he should, right?
As he should. But Jimmy, I thought it was a little bit slow and methodical, and I was a little bit bored. I kind of like saw myself dozing. Did you?
You're right, actually, spot on. The first 15 minutes felt very slow and boring, and for the most part, it was just like a wrestling match, really, in a way, like just a normal wrestling match. But once all the near finishes started coming in, right, and there was a lot of them towards the end, that's when it got a bit more exciting for the fans. But really, it was just all a facade, let's be honest, because all those near falls is designed to sort of bring excitement to the fan base, right? But it doesn't always
Jimmy,
work.
Would you agree that they were trying to recreate a G1 finals match?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
But G1 finals matches for many years. This is what we got here. So
and they'll talking it up too about it. The best tournament in all of pro wrestling, blah, blah, blah. I started laughing. I'm like, shut up, Danielson, for even saying that. They just kept going on and on about even it's Schiavone's most favorite tournament in all of wrestling history, according to Tony. Just quietly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So this is the tournament, boys.
So, Vet, in my notes, Jon Moxley kicked out at 1 or 1.5 on the Rainmaker clothesline. Just wanted to give you that a note here. And Moxley wins with the Paradigm Death Rider shift. Again, clean. It was a very clean win. Again, we got 2 nut shots here, Vet. So I'm not going to say they did not kind of cheat.
Yeah, not totally clean.
Not totally clean, but it was a clean win and a clean victory. So, the match is what it is, and Moxley becomes the Continental Classic champion. And this is where Jimmy and I we were expecting more. And I do not want to be a hate watcher, Vet, so I'm just trying to give you the analogy of what I saw here.
I feel like you can't help it.
I know I can't help it. Yes, you're right. But
they're turning you into this.
Jimmy could attest to this because when you saw, Jon Moxley is holding the belt high, Death Riders come out and, they hug him and, kiss him and all that stuff. Tony Schiavone hands him the mic, and then Moxley turns into the opposite of what John Cena did at the Elimination Chamber to Cody Rhodes. He got a happy face. Completely. He did total opposite. You know how John Cena went like this? Like he had a stone face. He had that stone killer face. Jon Moxley was happy. He was happy. He got the belt. He won it for the fans. He won it for the people who was in this Continental Classic. He loved professional wrestling, vets. And this is where I'm going on a tangent because for the last year, he questioned where AEW was going. He questioned the young guys' motivation. He wanted to see if the young guys was going to step up. And again, attempted murder on Daniel Bryan, attempted murder on Darby Allin, and all is forgiven with the sickos. And Moxley is the Continental Classic champion. Jimmy, am I forgetting something here?
No, they totally pissed on everything they've tried to build for the last 2 years. It feels like at this point, totally pissed on it. Forget it.
They ruined what, and they ruined that what we've been talking about for weeks on the Wreckage, where they could have beat down Jon Moxley. This was the perfect opportunity to beat down Jon Moxley and start a fresh new Death Rider cult with maybe Claudio being the leader and stuff like that. One note, I will say this, Jaime Nice, maybe to save this conundrum here, Vet, Pac was nowhere to be found on this day. He was not in the house, he was not in the arena and all that stuff. So maybe Pac will be at the center. But they all hugged, they all cheered, and after one promo, the Death Riders are baby faces.
Yep. Legit. That's some good drugs that Tony's on, but he has to be on some good shit.
Jimmy, do me a favor, clip this. That's all you got. Clip this for the thing for the short.
It's already clipped. Don't worry about that. It's already clipped. I guarantee you. Actually, shout outs to StreamYard. They're magnificent at doing the clipping. I'm not gonna lie.
This is a clip moment. Bet, save this for me. I mean, make it make sense. I'm missing something. I'm nitpicking.
No, nobody's missing anything. I really
watch it, please.
I really am at a loss for words. I mean, what you just described was so stupid, and that's among so many other stupid things. That's like a cherry on top of a stupid sundae that it feels like we've been eating it for years now. And I can't even, do you guys, does everybody, not just you, anybody else I've co-hosted, like, do you know how much stuff that individually on one thing, on one show, I could turn that into a 2-hour show if I went off on it. But I gloss over so much. I gloss over it. You saw how fast I did that review for Dynamite and Collision. I could have picked everything apart for 2 hours each. I just gloss over it because it's not worth it. Life is too short. We can't be thinking about things like this for any length of time. We have to just let the sieve of our brain just let this drain out and just move on to the next thing, because that's just what we do. That's part of the grind. That's our job as entertainers, to entertain you. Move on to the next thing. Next week, we'll be back again. We'll do it again, right?
Absolutely.
All that stuff is so dumb. And then this on top of all of that is like, even somehow you're raising the bar the same way Kyle Fletcher won't be satisfied until he dies in the ring. They're raising the bar on stupidity. Like, as far as you're talking about a tournament being the most prestigious. You're talking about, you did this for the fans, like all these things. It's like you are actively, I couldn't think you could do anything better to drive people off from watching your show than this. You would have, how would you do it any better? Could you just put a test pattern on? At least the test pattern is consistent. It goes the whole time.
You know what you're getting.
I just want to say that Jimmy called this. Jimmy said that this was a redemption story, and I didn't see it. So, Jimmy, please explain, where did you see the redemption?
Because of what they're doing. No, well, yeah, the beginning of the tournament is where it really started, per se, because Moxley was trying to act different all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, where are they going with this shit?
He can't be
becoming a babyface.
But again, I don't want to go too long, but he was losing. He was tapping out. He was not being the
but
leader that the Death Riders
bad.
expected him to be. He was not being the leader. So this was maybe a last gasp. That this is the way I looked at it. This was a last gasp to see if he was worthy of being the Death Riders leader. And again, he overcomes the odds. I'm cool with that. I'm just waiting.
They must have pivoted somewhere, Prof. They had to. You can't be telling one story like that, and then suddenly we've pivoted to like the people's champion, John Moxley.
Again, Claudio hugged him. He should have been the one doing like a thumbs down or something like that. That's all I'm just saying.
Yeah, like a good evolution. Remember that Triple H?
Yeah,
thumbs
they should have
down,
put propped him on. Claudio should have propped him on his back. Marina Shafir should have just looked at Moxley like
thumbs down, right?
Down, and beat the shit out of him. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, you're right, but they didn't. You know what I mean? I don't get it either. I don't know. That's why you got to think with this company. You got to think opposite. I've given up on all the times where we think we're going one way with this company, and then they've always screwed it up every time we think they're going one way. So now I'm thinking like how they would probably think, oh no, we think they're going this way, but they're going this way, right? And that's what happens, except I got the friggin' finals wrong, as probably 90% of the people in the world did.
I got the finals right, but I got the winner wrong. I thought Okada was going to repeat. Because I was thinking about the storyline for the Don Callis family. That's it. So I got no other thing to say. I'm flabbergasted with the way the execution, and it's like it's like reading a book, right? You read a novel. There's maybe 20 chapters in that novel. There's nowhere in the chapters where it should turn into two different books in the same book. It's a chapter. Chapter 1 to chapter 20 should be a progression. Talked about, right, Vet? When you're watching a movie, you're watching a progression into the ending of a movie, not two different movies in the same movie. That's a porno. That's two different movies. You can watch a porno like that. That's all I'm just saying.
That's how they book like a porno, though, right? Literally like a porno.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't jerk off to this. So what's next?
Jimmy, you want to take it? I've been talking too much. You can take it.
No, please. We're at the main event. We might as well keep going with you, bro. Yeah, okay, I like this.
The main event is a fatal four-way for the AEW Worlds Heavyweight Championship. We got Samoa Joe defending against Swerve, defending against Hangperson, and again, the wild card, the man who cashed in his Money in the Bank contract officially, MJF. So some notes I took out of here was MJF got a grand entrance. He got a whole, poster size MJF sign on the back of him. So, he got a lot of pomp and circumstances. I got notes that the Ops made an appearance during this match. So a lot of security guards and got beaten up first. And then, of course, Hobbs and Hook came in and made some plays here too. And at the ending was actually good because when Hangper was for his clothesline move, he pushed Samoa Joe out of the way. And when Hangperson flipped, he got a pristine timing nut shot in to kick Hangperson out of the way, then got Samoa Joe and did his heat seeker pile driver spot to become a two-time AEW heavyweight champion of the world. And this was very paramount, Vet, because he did it before he turned 30. So they wanted to make it a paramount. He's in his 20s. He's a two-time heavyweight champion. And we know that the Triple B will be coming back in probably this Wednesday on Dynamite. So, Jimmy, any spots in this match that you like with this match here? I think it just was plain as day.
I got it right again with MJFC. I told you, bro. You were right with what you said, though. But again, remember what I was saying? It doesn't matter about it. It doesn't matter about the story. Because when you think they're doing something, they're doing something else. Because why did they even put him in the match in the first place? With no real build towards it, except for 2 weeks, if that.
And one botch, Vet, was Hangperson. You know how he does that moonsault off to the floor? He totally missed the no look moonsault. He totally missed 3 people.
Should have looked.
So what he did was he tapped MJF on the head, and then MJF pushed himself forward and knocked down 3 people. So it was a moonsault tap to the head, and he pushed himself. So that was one of my notes here. So that's the best thing I could take out of this match. But I like the ending of the way MJF kind of like devilishly became the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Devilishly, I like what you did there. Yeah, it's really, look, it's the only choice. It makes you feel like everybody was just transitional, doesn't it? Like he just comes right in and takes it. It's just.
I'm surprised, but Vet, I'm surprised that Tony Khan would pull the trigger that quickly, because I thought Tony Khan would at least respect Samoa Joe, maybe until Revolution, which that pay-per-view is in March, for him to lose the belt, maybe one-on-one to MJF.
Yeah, I don't think Samoa Joe cares. It's kind of like what you were saying. No, really, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier about Bandito and the rewarded. You know, it's just like
it's exactly what
the reward is your salary, man.
Yeah.
Okay? If they're using you, that's good enough. What you actually do doesn't really matter if they're consistently using you. Now, we, on the other hand, as the audience looking to be entertained, we would prefer the entertainment be good, right?
Right.
And I'm sure that, you know, as a professional, you prefer that, you know, you would be looking as good as you can. Since you're on national television and worldwide, everything. But I can only tell you from my own personal experience, I could probably count on one hand the amount of matches I won. And the only reason that bothered me is not because, you know, I kept losing or anything or whatever. It was just that it meant that when I put over people that I really wanted to put over and could do something with, it meant so much less, you know, because of course I'm not going to win then either. I haven't won anything yet. Why would I win now? But a win for somebody else that's good means a lot more. You know, if you can do business, like real business, then doing that means. So it was just the disappointment of not being able to do that. But if it was just like, as far as my role, it didn't bother me one bit. So a guy like Samoa Joe being a world champion only for a short period of time, he's still a world champion and he doesn't care anyway. He's there for the salary. He's there for the paycheck. So he's fine.
I don't even think they intended to have him as champion, to be honest. It just went that way. I think they just planned it last second. I just don't see any.
But it does undermine.
Right.
It does undermine the idea of Hangman Page's title run. So it would have been sweeter for MJF to sort of be taking it away from him and not Joe. Right? Well, so that just makes me think like maybe MJF wasn't guaranteed to be available for this. That's maybe why they put it on Joe in the first place, just because
I don't know. That. It makes sense.
I don't know why. Because it's like a heel taking it from a heel is not. It's just a little flat, right? So
yeah, I agree, 100%. And this is Texas says MJF is AEW's Brock Lesnar. He's starting to become that sort of.
Well, it's like I said earlier, like MJF, what he did in England, ethering all three guys, and then they're trying to humble him, and then now he wins the belt. Again, is it the right call? I thought it's a little bit too early, but again, what Vet said, you know, I can't retort back on that. So it makes
it's not the right call, but on paper he's the right man though. Right now, in my opinion, though, to be champion, it's just the way they went about it. It's just all wrong.
I mean, MJF pinning Samoa Joe, you know, is long-term storytelling. We can't forget that, because Samoa pinned MJF in 2023 Worlds End. So he got the win back in 2025. It's fine, but I just wish there would have been a one-on-one to really get that kind of revenge against Samoa Joe. He cost him a lot. So that's the way I looked at it from that standpoint. So nothing else from me to say.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a wrap. I guess we're done. Because it was a bumper show. And like you said, we could have been here, like you said, Vet, like for 2 hours per segment. But why? You know what I mean? We already give you 2 hours.
I do so much glossing. I do so much glossing.
And we do that because, you know, especially with a big show, you know, we're trying to get through, because the main thing was obviously the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? It sort of defeats the purpose of Dynamite and Collision when they do the pay-per-view that week. But it is what it is. And we still give you over 2 hours anyway.
Even the vet's glossing, I could still picture it in my head, because I didn't watch.
You don't even need.
I watched NBA on Christmas, so I was watching NBA. But the picture was so vivid. I hope I glossed to the vet's expectations.
I think you did a wonderful job. I couldn't have picked anybody else better. And that's kind of one of the things, like we're talking about oversaturation in the podcast market. Mm-hmm. And so that means you guys have a lot of choices of where you want to hear about AEW. So I think I don't think I'm speaking out of turn to speak for you guys when I say that we're very appreciative of all the time that you spent with us this year, and hopefully all the time that you'll spend with us going forward as we suffer through this together, because, you know, it's kind of just the doing this that makes it tolerable. I can watch this bullshit if I know that at least at the end of the rainbow, the pot of gold is the 3-man booth, you know, where we just get to have a good time, hang out with you guys, hopefully brighten your days, make your weekends a little bit better. You know, that's really the important thing as we wind down 2025, and we've already had Thanksgiving, and we're looking forward to New Year's, and we've had these holidays, and it's about, you know, giving and whatever, and togetherness and crap, you know, all that stuff. You know, I think it's as good a time as any to say, you know, for all the ups and downs of 2025, everybody at HMG is grateful for all of you guys and giving us a reason to do this.
That was beautifully put, Vet. I like that, and that's a fact, man. So, but thank you for that, Vet. That was great. Vet. Absolutely. And this is the final wreckage, actually, of 2025, because next time we're back, it will be a new year. It'll be 2026. So look out for that when we do return. But in saying that, Vet, I'll go with you first. What are you doing? What are you up to? And where can the people find you?
You can find me everywhere at Opinion Haver, all your favorite social media platforms. You can check me out on other HMG shows that I do here on this channel. You can also check, you should know those by now. If not, you know, maybe go check out one of the past episodes. Yeah. That, the other one, this.
The other one. Yeah. Right,
Chelsea Green's butt. Yeah. Check out Limpin' Ain't Easy. Check out Stevie Richards Show. Check out Wrestling with Rogers.
Oh. God damn it.
I went backwards that time.
You did. You totally threw me off, but yeah, that was good. Prof, what are you up to? What are you doing? Where can the people find you? And it's still a holiday season for the Reflection, correct?
It is the holiday season for the Reflection. We'll be back in 2026. But I got an announcement for all the Hami Nights here, because the start of the 2026 on the Wreckage exclusively. We won't do news. We'll do a little news, but it will be the 2025 Professor's Perspective Award winners. I've tabulated all the scores. I had to wait till Worlds End to finally tabulate all the winners for this calendar year of 2025. So exclusively here for the Wreckage. Maybe I might put some little tidbits on my Pro Wrestling Reflection YouTube page, but I will save it for the Wreckage people, the Professor's Perspective Awards. Don't worry, Vet. I won't drag it out. It's just Career Renaissance winner, Male and Female Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Match of the Year, and the Most Valuable Personality Award winner. So just give me those awards. So stay tuned, Hami Nights, for the winners. No promotion of the year. I will not do that.
Give me one little tease. Am I going to be happy or am I not with your picks?
You will be ecstatic. You'll be smiling. For especially my favorite award, the Career Renaissance Award winner.
I like the sound of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's brilliant. And also, that reminds me, because we also, I'm planning on doing one for HMG, but I don't know who's going to do it.
I'm the appetizer. Jimmy's going to do the main course with the HMG award.
I actually think you might be the main course, but because you'll be the new 2026. You'll be the last one, but I'll be on sometime this week before 2026. I was going to figure out who's joining me and whatnot, but till then, look out for that. But also, if you want to follow me, you can also at the PWC Network on the Twitter. But most importantly, as it says on the screen, please like and subscribe right here at Habibi Media Group's YouTube channel, because we very much appreciate it. So please share us around, give us a like, and that would be great. So continue doing what you're doing. And thank you to everyone that joins us week in, week out, because without you, we wouldn't be doing it. And you continuously give us great numbers, and we really appreciate that, including all the super stickers and whatnot. So until we see you guys back in 2026 for the Wreckage, you'll see us before then, though, on other shows. I'm going to say we're out. I am Jimmy T. He is the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams. And that is the magnanimous, the glorious, the Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the
Wreckage.
Boy.
Live right here on Jaime Media's YouTube channel. And I believe we're done with channelattitude.com. So till then, 2026 is also going to be a different time. So till then, we'll see you then. Ciao.